War I on Sunday, with celebrations ranging from high-tech light shows to somber gatherings in honor of the country's military veterans. More than 100,000 Americans died in World War I after the United States declared war on Germany on April 6, 1917, driving the nation into a global conflict. Although the United States entered the war in the later stage, many Americans had disagreed with the decision to join allies Britain, France, and Russia, some viewing it as an endless fight between old European rivals. The conflict erupted in 1914 after a teenage Bosnian Serb assassinated the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and his wife, Sarajevo. That lit the fuse for a war that would rewrite the world order, spell an end to empires, and claim the lives of more than 9 million soldiers. Dr. Matthew Naylor, president and CEO of the National World War I Museum and Memorial in Kansas City, Missouri, said, "The world today is more like the world in 1914 than it has been for the past 104 years. As we mark the 100 years since the Armistice, it is essential that we not sleepwalk into catastrophe." World War I, also known as the Great War, ended with world leaders at the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month, signing an armistice ending 4 years of bloody battles. The 100th anniversary of the peace agreement lends an extraordinary look to this year's commemorative ceremonies around the United States, where wreaths are placed on memorials and bells toll to ring in harmony. One of the most striking events is at the museum in Kansas City, where a massive light installation appeared to cover a memorial in 5,000 poppies for 9 consecutive evenings through Veterans Day to recognize the 9 million soldiers worldwide who died during World War I. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
Images of destruction are flooding in, and the worst isn't over. Experts warn that Hurricane Ashley could strike as many as 8 bars throughout the day. Her Cinco de Mayo plans, combined with all the recent drama with Scott, have created perfect conditions for Hurricane Ashley to cause a lot of damage this afternoon and well into the evening. Here's a look at Ashley's path of destruction so far. At 11 a.m., she landed on Foster Street, moving from O'Murphy's to the Blue Iguana, hitting the place that does the mini pizzas the hardest. And she's expected to merge with other high-pressure systems, including BFFs Jessica and Christy, within the next hour. Forecasters predict that some areas could see all 3 grown women obnoxiously shouting, wearing sombreros and fake mustaches as early as 5 p.m. The whirlwind might not die down until close to 2:30 a.m. when she's expected to be kicked out of a reggae bar called the Lion's Den for saying something racist. Our thoughts are with everyone in her path.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Sunday version of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
And it's, on top of being Sunday, it's Veterans Day. Now, not observed, the government decides when holidays are, but traditionally, the 11th day of the 11th month is Veterans Day.
Can we call it what it actually is?
Armistice Day?
Armistice Day.
They changed the name, so I don't know if that's
They
actually
changed
what
the
it is.
name and the purpose.
Okay.
But it is actually Armistice Day. It is the day that we commemorate the end of what some referred to as the war to end all wars, which we know didn't actually end all wars. Others referred to it as the Great War. We're talking about the first of 2 things to be called a world war.
That's right. And honestly, it would be very difficult to talk about World War I without World War II. It's really important. World War II is the one that gets it's got all the flash. It's got the cool airplanes. It's got who doesn't hate Nazis, right? You got a real villain there. Now, obviously, the United States fighting on the side
Current
of
Nazis. They don't hate Nazis.
Probably not. The amount of people in the world that don't hate Nazis, low, is I guess what I'm saying. It's really unpopular to like Nazis, for instance, and it's sort of left out that America fights alongside the USSR, the great villain of the Cold War, and supports this organization, helps it to take over a great deal of land. Many people die in the this counter attack by the Russians that over the course of decades.
World War II, definitely more dead people than World War I.
Yeah, but I think that World War II's, probably because of Saving Private Ryan in large part, is just that war that people really admire. It's the one that they think of when they think of the freedom
and
the
there was
United States being protected.
The supposed greatest generation during World War II, where World War I was supposedly the silent generation.
Well, then there's also the fact that after World War II, that's when the United States became the greatest power in the world. And it was really World War II that made that change from Britain to the United States.
Right. And World War I, the war to end all wars, and World War II was the war that led us into perpetual war.
Also, the United States wasn't nearly as involved in World War I as in World War II.
That's correct. So there's not as much to like about that, right? Like, United States is like the guy who walks into a bar fight, punches the guy that he likes the least, and then declares himself the winner of the bar fight. Everybody else is laying around bloody and hey, I won.
Yeah, the U.S. came in at the very end when everybody was already dead for World War I.
But I've decided to read for Armistice Day here. I've decided to read the story of Sergeant Henry Gunther. Now, if you're not familiar with his name, it's not a terrible surprise. I didn't know what it was. If somebody had asked me, what's the name of the last American to die in World War I wouldn't know. Now, for those who are in many of our listeners listen through podcasts and streams in foreign countries and that sorts of things. I have addressed in many occasions the last to die in every country. I decided that I wanted to read more about Sergeant Gunther in this on this Armistice Day. So here we go.
So just a quick question of clarification here. We're not talking about people that had some kind of battle wound that then died 2 months after the war. We're talking about people actually like shot and killed on the battlefield.
Yeah, they're calling a battlefield death.
Okay.
And by the way, this is probably the only time you're going to hear that term used. I mean, a battlefield death versus, somebody dying of gangrenous, wound or something. Really the same thing, honestly. But, Blackjack Pershing, the America's either only or second 5-star general, declared, or was it 6-star? One of the highest ranked generals in American history, decided to call Henry Gunther's death the final American death in World War I.
All right.
So people who died after, well, sorry. So he was the last, this is from NBCnews.com. He was the last American killed on the battlefields of World War I, felled by a German bullet just 1 minute before the Armistice. Mind you, plenty of people died after the Armistice. I don't know. I haven't had a chance to go through this entirely to know whether they tell the story. But basically, the world powers got together in a railroad car in some forest. I can't remember which one off the top of my head. And decided to sign the Armistice. They came to an agreement on, I believe it was November the 10th. So yesterday, and then decided that the 11th hour, the 11th day of the 11th month sounded spiffy, and they'd go for that. So let's just let these fellas shoot at each other for that period of time. Rather than just saying, hey, war's over, but we're going to officially end it at 11/11/11, they just let them continue, which I find abhorrent. So going on. Almost a century later, it is a century later, this is an old article, the circumstances of Sergeant Henry Gunther's death remain a matter of debate among historians. Was he a brave hero who charged into an ambush by German soldiers in the final minutes of the Great War? The senseless victim of military commanders who kept the fighting up hours after a ceasefire was signed, or a conflicted warrior with something to prove who signed his own death warrant? As Gunther's family prepares to lay flowers on his grave in Baltimore's Most Holy Redeemer Cemetery on Tuesday, obviously, this is a few years old, to mark his death, the Armistice and Veterans Day, even they admit they don't have all the answers. Why would they have all the answers? Are they following him around? The family's kept an open mind about what actually happened to my great-uncle, Gunther's great-nephew, Joseph Long, himself a Vietnam War veteran, said by the phone and from Baltimore. You had to be there to really know. The official view is etched into a bronze plaque at the foot of Gunther's grave. Highly decorated for exceptional bravery and heroic action that resulted in his death 1 minute before the Armistice. A U.S. Army citation states that on November the 11th, 1918, during the Battle of the Argonne Forest, Gunther's unit, the Alpha Company of the 313th Regiment, 79th Infantry Division, I mention all that for the people that care about those numbers. It's pretty meaningless to me. I always did like the Big Red One. I mean, that was just it's an infantry army. The Big Red One is an army. The army has more than one army for whatever reason, and just thought that's a cool name. Anyway, he ran into a German ambush near the French town of pardon me, French people, Chaumont devant Damves.
Sounds good.
Yeah, north of Verdun. At the same time, a message that arrived with the word that the war would be over within the hour. That's when Gunther, pinned down by enemy fire and visibly angry, bolted, with bayonet fixed, and charged the German machine gun nest. At least one bullet shattered his head at 10:59. General John Pershing, commander of the American Expeditionary Forces, ordered that Gunther be named the last American to die in the battlefield. 5 years later, Gunther's remains were returned to Baltimore with full military honors. But investigative reporting over the years painted a more nuanced picture, one that suggests Gunther's final heroic charge was as much about slaying his own demons. Of German descent, he and his family had become targets of growing anti-German sentiment. We were told, growing up, that the local pharmacist accused my grandmother of being a German spy. Long said. The police took her in, but she was later released. It was a pretty tense time. And this was very true throughout America. I can tell you here in New Hampshire, the city of Berlin. It's Berlin now. But in 1916 or whatever,
right,
it was Berlin. And they decided, to change the pronunciation of their town in order to be less Germany. Seriously, folks, that's what it was like. Because even in World War I, when the United States wasn't even in the war, they had their favorites. And even though there was a huge German population here, many times they were vilified.
Actually, the Germans are the largest ethnic group in the United States.
Yes, they are.
There were people
never
arrested
mentioned
for speaking German in public.
Yeah, it's true. These things are true. And the reason that it's not mentioned is because of this. The two world wars fought against Germany made it sort of unpopular to be German for whatever reason. And
unless you're Amish.
Yeah, I think that the Amish have redeemed themselves, but they are a peace church. The number, 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
She seems happier. Her fur is so much shinier, silkier, softer. She has really mellowed a lot.
Sheba is 105 lean pounds of shiny, smooth, happy dog for life.
The shedding has stopped. The itching has stopped.
Since 2001, we've helped more than 250,000 dogs get over their nutritional deficiency miseries.
And saved our customers bazillions in vet bills.
Everything we tried failed except the Dynovite.
Come to Dynovite for help.
DINOVITE.com.
If you want the dog to be healthy, you got to feed it something healthy.
The omega-3 fatty acids, flaxseed, zinc, alfalfa, the digestive enzymes that are cooked out of regular dog food.
Dynovite is nutrition.
Dynovite for life.
Don't let your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy.
Come to Dynovite for help.
859-428-1000.
859-428-1000.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Bitcoin.com is delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it is now easier than ever to get gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash, BCH. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.bitcoin.com. Pick the gift card you want, follow the instructions on screen, and make your payment using your Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight, and your gift card will be delivered to you as soon as it's ready. That's giftcards.bitcoin.com.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
We've all heard about blockchain assets like Dogecoin, Ether, and Ripple. Bitcoin isn't the only player in the blockchain game any longer. And for those of us wondering how to get our hands on these digital assets, finally, there's a solution. Shapeshift.io allows you to buy and sell between your digital assets and Bitcoin instantly between your own digital wallets. I've used it with ease. Shapeshift.io. There's no account or email address needed. You send them the crypto you want to sell. They send back the crypto you want to buy. It's that easy. Shapeshift.io.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live Sunday edition. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
855-450-3733. We are reading the story of Sergeant Henry Gunther, the last man to die in World War I.
Officially the last man to die.
Yeah. 100th anniversary of his death today, and the signing of the Armistice to end World War I. And Darryl has looked up a little bit of trivia surrounding the Armistice. But I'm going to let him...
Right, because I was trying to actually find info about when did they actually agree to this thing going into effect on the 11th day of the 11th hour of the 11th month, and I'm not seeing anything saying that they formally signed it on the 10th, but I did find some anomalies, if you will.
But I want to tell you about Bitcoin.com. They're delighted to announce their latest partnership with the gift card specialists at eGifter. With many of the world's leading brands on their roster, it's now easier than ever to get the gift cards of your favorite brands with Bitcoin Cash. To get started, just follow these simple steps. Visit giftcards.com, pick the gift card you want. Be sure to check the gift cards that you purchased is available in your country. That would be important, right? Follow the instructions on screen and make your payment using the Bitcoin Cash wallet. Sit tight, and your gift card will be delivered to you just as soon as it's ready. It's giftcards.bitcoin.com. Applebee's, Domino's, Home Depot, Uber, Hotels.com, Nike, hundreds more. Giftcards.bitcoin.com.
So...
yeah, tell me about the Armistice arrangement.
Yeah, so again, was signed, it's officially the Armistice of Compiègne, which is the French fort. You mentioned it was, signed in a forest, French forest, and... yeah, it formally took place Paris time, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, marked a victory for the Allies and a defeat for the Germans, although they did not formally surrender, which is kind of strange for the ending of a war.
They hadn't formally lost, right? I mean, so why would they surrender? It's not like the Germans were getting pushed back or anything like that.
I don't know a lot about the ending of World War I.
I've studied it a great deal because I consider it to be foundational, in the belief of that war is largely futile and a terrible way to solve problems. Not to say that I think that every conflict and every person that's ever fought in every conflict is some kind of murder or anything like that. I just, I'm a student of history,
right.
And students of history tend to look at war as both interesting and a terrible waste.
Yes. And I do know that a lot of the, shall we say, penalties assessed on the Germans is what allowed for the rise of the Nazi Party.
Yes.
And so
historians, by the way,
would not have World War II without World War I.
Historians are almost of accord on this particular point that basically it was the restrictions, the huge penalties of the Treaty of Paris, is that right? Treaty of Versailles, excuse me,
yes.
That made Hitler angry, made Germans angry generally, caused his rise to chancellor, that sort of thing. So by the way, they did not vote him in as a majority.
Although the armistice ended the fighting, and this is what is really interesting, and I had never been taught and never learned about this. The armistice ended the fighting, again, on November 11th, 1918, but it didn't actually formally end the war. It was basically a ceasefire, and it was prolonged. This ceasefire was prolonged 3 times until the signing of the Treaty of Versailles in June of 1919, which took effect January 10th, 1920. So World War I did not actually formally end until 1920.
That's correct. So,
but we're always told, it ended in 1918.
Well, the fighting did.
Right.
So.
Well, when did the fighting in the Korean War end? But it's a well-known
50s.
fact that the Korean War has never formally ended.
I thought they just ended it.
No.
Okay. Well,
they're talking about it.
Okay.
They're doing some things of removing landmines out of the DMZ, but they've not actually signed anything formally ending the war.
That would be nice.
I mean, that would bring it to the question of what is war if not people fighting and killing each other.
Right. It's right. It's a good question. So the United States hasn't declared war since 1942. Does that mean that the people who died in the Korean conflict, the Vietnam conflict, you pick after that, it gets a little murky, Persian Gulf War conflict, Persian Gulf War II, Saddam Hussein, any of these things.
Grenada, even though Grenada was 12 and a half minutes long, it was still a bunch of people shooting people.
People died.
So on the subject of this man died basically after the agreement was entered into but wasn't formalized. So his death is sort of wasted, and it's wasted in a silly manner. They just wanted it to be cool, the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month.
Yeah, I think that to some extent they probably want some coordination, like to defend the generals of World War I who are rarely defended. They probably wanted some level of coordination, which could get confusing.
How many times in, say, the Spanish-American War or the American Civil War, which actually wasn't a civil war, but not getting into that, after the war officially ended, and I'm using air quotes there for those people not watching the live stream, after the war officially ended, there were still people fighting for days, weeks, sometimes months.
It's true.
Because it takes a long time to dispatch things. But early 1900s, you've got telegraphs, and it's easier to relay messages. So, yeah, I do think if they wound up, sending telegrams saying, tomorrow at 11 o'clock, stop firing your rifles.
Yeah, I think that in this case, probably the reason that, at least the reason that we're being offered here is the reason Sergeant Henry Gunther decided to pop up might be related in some way to the treatment of his family in the United States as German immigrants. So his grandmother had been brought in and questioned as a German spy, basically because she speaks German. And by the time he was drafted in 1917, Gunther had a steady job as a bank bookkeeper and had just been engaged. He had absolutely no desire to be in that war, but who would, Long said, especially, this is nephew, great-nephew, especially to be killing Germans. Worse, he had just been busted in rank from sergeant down to private, according to a contemporary Baltimore Sun reporter, James Kane, who interviewed many of Gunther's platoon mates. Gunther's rank was posthumously reinstated, by the way. It's nice. Give him the sergeant rank back. Apparently, a letter he'd written to a friend bashing Army life and warning him against enlisting made it into the hands of U.S. military censors. As Kane wrote, at the time he thought himself suspected of being a German sympathizer. The regiment went into action a few days later after he was demoted, and from the start he displayed the most unusual willingness to expose himself to all sorts of risk.
Oh, that's interesting. That reminds me very much of a book written by Milan Kundera called The Joke, in which the character in the book was angry with his communist girlfriend. They were both communists, and he wrote her a letter saying how bad the party was. Because he was angry with her, they found it, and he ended up losing all of his job and being punished for it. So very similar to that.
Yeah, these... it's nice reading people's mail. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. It's okay for America to read your mail. It's in the name of freedom.
Security.
What if there was a social media network only for the conservative?
What if there was a social media network not only for the conservative right general public, but also a platform for conservative politicians and advertisers?
And what if this social media network was the only free speech network in existence?
There is. It's rightsocial.net.
Rightsocial.net, a response to President Donald Trump's direct presidential order.
Rightsocial.net, where you have the right to freely speak your mind.
Rightsocial.net, the right place to be.
Why is the black man black and the white man white? God said, mansaid.com. The Sons of God and Science admits a ghost species. The amazing power of going to church. God said, mansaid.com. Dinosaurs and man contemporaneously. You possess the world's greatest treasure. God said, mansaid.com. Sin bones, St. Peter's fish, hours of text and streaming audio. God said, mansaid.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
When you hear the word lobbyist, you probably think about greedy corporations, but not all lobbyists are the same. Some are fighting for the freedoms you hold dear. Liberty Lobby LLC is doing just that in New Hampshire, working hard to represent you, not some special interest group. You can help by going to libertylobby.info, where your contribution will give us the tools we need to ensure that your voice is heard. Visit libertylobby.info today to find out more.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, Veterans Day, Armistice Day edition here. Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Let me tell you about Anarchapulco, because Ian and I are going, and it's going to be a lot of fun. I think that it's the best Liberty event that I've ever gone to, and they consistently deliver a better one every year. Hopefully this year will be the same. I think it's going to be. They've got a lot of great names lined up. Ron Paul, Judge Napolitano, Doug Casey, Larkin Rose, David Icke, Cynthia McKinney, Vit Yadlika. Vit Yadlika is the president of Liberland, for those who do not know. These are the biggest names in the Liberty movement, and it'll be the largest gathering of free thinkers, voluntarists, libertarians, ANCAPs in Acapulco, Mexico, from February the 14th through the 17th at Anarchapulco. You'll love the lineup. By the way, I'm going to be emceeing Cryptopulco, which is a leg, a line, a thread. I don't know exactly what to call it. That's where they're discussing entrepreneurship, investments, politics, philosophy, health, sustainability, lifestyles, personal relationships, and obviously cryptocurrency for 4 days among the sun and beaches of a world-class resort. And of course, Free Talk Live will be there again. Go to anarchapulco.com, like so many have, and use coupon code FTL. Register and save 15% off. This is the first time we've had a discount for you guys. Anarchapulco.com, code FTL. Love to see you there. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anarchapulco.com, code FTL. So going on here with the story from NBC News about Sergeant Gunther, who was killed, the last American killed in World War I. Historians point out that Gunther's officers, who gave the order to take the high ground back, knowing full well the war was about to end, rather than sitting tight, on November the 11th, Allied commanders sent messages across front lines to attack the enemy, even during those 6 hours between the signing of the ceasefire and its execution. Allied leaders found outrageous excuses to send 13,000 men, this is just on one side, into their deaths against defeated enemy, said late Joseph Persico wrote in his highly critical book, 11th Month, 11th Day, 11th Hour. Almost 3,000, ladies and gentlemen, 3,000 Americans died, including Gunther, that fateful morning. More than were killed on D-Day.
On the final day,
yes,
we know the war is ending in about an hour.
Yeah, the war's ended, basically.
Like they've already signed the paperwork, but they say, we get to fight for another hour, and 3,000 men,
3,000 Americans. Yeah, 3,000 Americans were killed, and because American commanders kept sending troops into line of fire,
because they couldn't get enough war.
Well, the Americans never felt like they really got their war, and that's probably the difficulty here. Clearly, the public's perception about World War I and its last American victim has changed over the years. The generation that grew up with Gunther's legend in Baltimore would have regarded him as the last brave American to die in the nation's noble effort to end a long, horrible conflict of dubious purpose in Europe, wrote Dan Rodricks, another Baltimore Sun reporter covering the 90th anniversary of the Allied victory in 2008. Today, looking back through the lens of history, we might see Gunther's death differently. It's foolish, unnecessary, ironic, like the Great War itself. And for me, this is how I see the conflict that laid the groundwork for World War II, because you can't discuss the World War II without discussing the groundwork that was laid by World War I. Right. The way that the Japanese were treated during the signing of the Treaty of Versailles, the way they were treated as lesser and they felt excluded. They're very clear on this. The way the Germans had these huge reparations put upon them, and that they were living in squalor and in terrible poverty, and it's all because their nation had to keep pumping money out to this other side. I mean, I'm not saying Germany was on the right side of World War I. I wouldn't make that claim. I would, if you want to talk alternate history, if Germany would have stayed put rather than doing its run through Belgium in World War I, you would see a very different Europe. If it waited for France to attack and just dug in there, and then England may or may not have gotten in, and if it had gotten in, it would have been much more dubious the way they got in. Germany would have really not. Germany didn't lose too much square footage during World War I. And then they would have been in a great place to sweep up Austria-Hungary, sweep up the Ottoman Empire, sweep up Russia, against whom Germany never lost a battle. And basically, the map would be German. Had they simply not attempted to go after their old rivals from the Franco-Prussian War, the French, because basically French and German, these are the same people, and they just want, each side wants the other side to be under the same government.
According to all the DNA tests, they're the same people.
They are.
They say French and German, Western European.
Right. They fight over how to pronounce Charlemagne. And that's it. I mean, there's really no difference. You could argue about who has the better food.
And they speak different languages.
Not much, but yes.
French and German are very much different languages.
I'm told, and I don't know. I don't speak either of them, but yeah.
One of them is very angry and shouty, and the other is considered the most romantic language in the world.
As I understand, they're separated by this Alsace-Lorraine. Sorry. Area which speaks another language also, which is Low German, and that's closer to what the Mennonites speak. Again, I don't know the specifics on it. All I can say is that I hope that we can learn something about our generation of conflict here in the United States. And what has it achieved? What do we have as a result of this generation conflict? They got Osama bin Laden, so one guy's dead. I'm not sure. Obviously, there's people who may not agree that Osama bin Laden was got at the time or whatever. I don't really care about that particular. We'll take the historical line here and say that Osama bin Laden was got. But other than that, was there a victory had in Iraq? Is there a victory in Afghanistan to be had?
Probably not. Reports that I see on a regular basis from antiwar.com is that the Taliban has, control over more of the country than they've had in the last 18 years.
Yeah. That's because, as I understand it, fighting under Trump isn't as widespread. But I don't know what the specifics are. Trump seems to be more about make America great again and is less concerned about the foreign policy stuff. But
so jumping around regarding war, I've heard it said about Nixon that the worst thing you can say about Nixon is that about half of the American soldiers who died in Vietnam died after he decided it wasn't a winnable war and he needed to find a way out. He was just looking for a politically expedient way to get out.
Yeah.
So whenever you're looking at a war, and no matter how justified you think it is for the country to get into the war, just keep in mind how much power you're giving the government over your sons. That they can make these capricious decisions.
Daughters now, too.
Yeah, daughters, too. These capricious decisions that end people's lives for ridiculous reasons. But then the other question is, okay, so what happens if we get attacked? Do we just not fight back? What's the answer?
Sure. I wouldn't claim that, but I would ask, when was the last time the United States was attacked, and then why? Mm-hmm. Some might say 9/11. My defense to 9/11 to that would be the 9/11 might have been a counterattack against by people in the Middle East who felt the United States was an enemy occupying their area, that it was a counterstrike. If anybody has any disagreement with that, they're certainly welcome.
People listening can't see that I'm making a face.
855-450-3733.
There are a lot of people that, when looking at World War II, think that history started on December 7th, 1941, and when looking at the War on Terror, think that history started September 11th, 2001. And they don't look at anything that happened prior to those two dates.
That's because the government takes for granted that you don't pay attention to U.S. foreign policy.
And most people don't.
They don't, yeah. 855-450-3733. 855-450-FREE. I would never call these people anything but brave. However, what's their sacrifice for? What was Sergeant Gunther's sacrifice for? Free Talk Live.
Does your dog itch, scratch, stink, or shed like crazy? Come to Dynovite for help.
Order a 90-day supply of Dynovite.
Dynovite for life.
Pick up 2 tubes of Doggo Suds.
Get the 3rd tube free.
Peppermint, tea tree, lavender, Doggo Sud shampoo.
Made with all-natural coconut, jojoba, aloe. Great for healthy skin and soft, shiny coats.
But no itchy, harsh chemicals.
Lather up, rinse away.
Try Doggo Suds. Buy 2, get 1 free.
At Dynovite.com.
DINOVITE.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
Hearing a lot about CBD these days? Yes, but which CBD products can you trust? Which website can provide proper education about CBD along with high-quality products? The answer? CBDonly.com. CBD, or cannabidiol, is one of hundreds of compounds found in the cannabis plant and one that contains a variety of medicinal benefits. Many doctors are starting to recommend CBD to their patients as an alternative or supplement to some pharmaceutical medications. CBD is becoming widely known to relieve pain, inflammation, and anxiety. Unlike THC that is found in the plant, CBD does not have psychoactive effects. In other words, it does not give the effect of being high. All CBDonly.com products are lab tested to ensure the highest quality standards. Shop CBDonly.com for CBD oils, edibles, vapes, skincare, even CBD for your pets. That's CBDonly.com. And to receive 15% off your order on CBDonly.com, use discount code CBDNOW. Remember, shop for CBD products you can trust. Shop CBDonly.com, your CBD superstore.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's our live Armistice Day edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
Darryl prefers the Armistice Day over Veterans Day. What's the reason exactly? What you said that the meaning of Armistice Day had been changed in the renaming to Veterans Day.
Right. So Veterans Day is to celebrate everybody that has ever served in the military.
Yep.
Armistice Day is to remember the ending of one particular war that at the time was the deadliest war in history and was supposed to be the war to end all wars. So by changing it to, hey guys, remember that really horrible thing we don't want to ever repeat? To, hey guys, let's celebrate everybody that ever put on a uniform, and they're your heroes, and we need more heroes. And heroes die for your freedom. So in a weird, twisted, roundabout way, Veterans Day and Memorial Day both have been twisted to celebrate people who die in wars. And I don't want anybody dying in wars.
I don't know that we're celebrating the fact that they died, though. I think we're celebrating...
There are some people that do.
Their dedication. We're not happy they're dead.
But you only have freedom to say that because people died. So it's this weird thing to where people are celebrating human sacrifice without acknowledging that they're celebrating human sacrifice.
I think it's respecting their sacrifice, not celebrating it.
I can see the point, right? So where the government would benefit, like does the government want people willing or unwilling to fight and die for like something less than minimum wage for their wars, that they're not going to support the people that are fighting and dying? I mean, it would seem pretty clear and obvious that all governments want as much fidelity as they possibly can get out of their working class, as it were.
So are you saying it's like they're celebrating martyrdom, which encourages people to become martyrs and die for things they shouldn't die for?
Because I want to be a hero too.
Everybody wants to be a hero. I get...
And what better way to be a hero than put on this uniform and go to a foreign country, shoot a gun at somebody that I've never met before in my life, and then die, and then everybody will celebrate me because I'm a hero.
I hear what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that we should respect people that the country asked to make a sacrifice, and they did so. I think it would be bad if we didn't respect them.
I think that
wouldn't be fair.
It's clear that what they were willing to do is like they're clearly brave people that were willing to do things. At the same time, I mean, I think the way we should go about respecting these people is A, not fight frivolous wars. Mm-hmm. B, when you're willing to fight a war, fight that war until they're all dead, right? Like all this half-stepping stuff is really what gets people killed.
Like if you're going to fire your gun, empty your magazine.
Right. That's how I would see it. And then, also pay them. Stop acting like stop compensating young men with uniforms and accolades and all this stuff that when they're ready to get out and they've got a limb blown off or their minds. Let's not forget 22 suicides a day. Their minds are messed up and all this other stuff that we just basically forget about them. That the compensation package should be clear and it should be worth it. And if the United States of America, the people, compensated soldiers at the level at which they're worth, I suspect they would fight far fewer wars and have far fewer soldiers. Also, if you had fewer soldiers, hopefully you'd have better ones.
And speaking of the compensation thing, and there are some people that like to say that soldiers get paid less than minimum wage, but that's based on their on the clock 24 hours a day, 7 days a week.
Yeah, I don't know what the pay for soldiers is. Not looked it up.
It's publicly available, and if you calculate it at 40 hours a week, then it's well above a good paying job, and I'm using air quotes there. Plus, there was actually an article that came out not too long ago. The military has said that the improvements of the economy have hurt recruitment.
It looks like starting salary for a private, and that's an E1, is about $1,600 per month. And then it goes up a little bit.
But don't they get their room and board paid for in addition to that?
Yeah, if you want it. I mean, I don't know that I'd count that.
That's part of the compensation package.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's really crappy room and board.
It's still part of compensation.
But it's money you don't have to spend on room and board.
That's correct. But the vast majority of people, I personally would not count that in my pay. So I would count this at about $400 per week pay, which is,
it's above minimum wage.
Probably above minimum wage. I remember working for $300 a week and thinking, I really can't make it on this, and having a roommate and, trying to keep an apartment going.
And some people will wind up getting married because then there's a spousal bonus.
Yes.
That
and then you can live in a different domicile.
You can live in different places, and then you get another bonus. And there are ways that people manipulate the pay scales.
There's also the GI Bill, so that if they serve for 3 years, they come out and they go to a state school, 100% of the tuition is covered, and that's pretty sweet.
Yeah, I've heard people say that they had a difficult time collecting on it. I don't know about that either. You can find people that'll call into a radio show and say just about anything.
Right, but there are a lot of people that, when asked, why did you sign up? Well, because free college.
Mm-hmm.
Sure. I mean, right? 3 years in the military sounds like a better deal than the rest of your life trying to pay off those bills, which can be prodigious, as any parent who's listening right now goes. But nonetheless, we read this article about Sergeant Henry Gunther, his death on 100 years ago today. Last American to die on the battlefield, as named at least by Blackjack Pershing. And sort of to some extent, we're not entirely sure what the reasons are that motivate him. How could you be? The last thing that went through his mind was a machine gun bullet. So we don't know.
The director of the German Society of Maryland, Bob Wisk, believes that at least part of Gunther's motivation for running into the line of fire was to prove his loyalty to the United States.
Agreed. That could have been two reasons, though. One, his German heritage. He was being, Germans all across the United States were being treated very poorly at the time, as though they were somehow in league with the Kaiser.
Right.
And a side note is in 1890, there were 1,000 German language newspapers in the United States. By 1920, they were pretty much all gone.
Yeah. And also, apparently, his fiance had just broken up with him, so he was probably on a suicide mission anyway.
Yeah, I'm sure he's very angry.
Having anything, left to live for.
He'd also been busted down from sergeant to private for...
everything was going wrong in his life.
Yeah. And, call that what you will, 3,000 Americans died on that day.
Yeah.
And it would be difficult to weave a narrative that says they in some way, shape, or form died for our freedoms.
Yeah.
They certainly were not, I'm not claiming that they weren't brave, but it's a different statement to say that they're courageous versus saying that they died for your freedom. And, that is demonstrably false.
And
most Americans walked away from World War I. Most people walked away from World War I thinking that it was a big waste of time. Governments were inefficient, rigid, stagnant organizations. By the time World War II gets reworked by history, everybody's like, yeah! And, the horrors of war are rarely mentioned in relationship to World War II.
Incidentally, we were mentioning before that people look at the War on Terror like it started on September 11th, 2001, and of course it didn't, and that the wars start on the date that we say they started. But I mean, if you look at it, I think it's always a continuum. The wars always have a basis from something that happened before, and whatever happened before had a basis from whatever happened before that.
Sure.
Right.
So it's all continuous, and it's hard to say when anything started and whose fault it is exactly, because there's always a back and forth going back in infinitum.
I can say this categorically: I'm against the next conflict. Whatever it is. I'm just against it. I don't know whether it's going to be China or something else in the Middle East or whatever. There's some blustering that's going on, North Korea. I think that in any of these circumstances, it's possible to just step back and say, hey, you guys want to have a war? You can do it on one side. You want to bring it to the United States' shores? It's going to be a whole different thing.
But I think generally the roots for war are always begin with something that doesn't look like it's going to be a root for war.
Right.
It's always something that looks fairly innocuous and then begins building and building over time.
Well, often that's the case. I think in World War II's case, it was both Japan and the United States both wanting to be an empire, like all the other empires that are around.
Mm-hmm.
The number 855-450-3733. Laurel's an immigration attorney, and we're going to talk immigration.
Yay!
855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNLife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I have treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNLife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637.
Did you know that Free Aid is a mutual aid, educational, and networking organization? At Free Aid, we support volunteers who provide first aid. We do outreach to the public about health and safety, and we bring together medically skilled freedom lovers. Free Aid is made possible by your generous support. Donors can receive great gifts like first aid kits, t-shirts, silver dime cards, and hoodies. The Free Aid Silver Dime Card Project is sponsored in part by Roberts & Roberts Brokerage, Freedom's Phoenix, and Don't Tread on Meme. Visit fr33aid.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, November 11th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.16 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,209 per ounce. Zen is trading at $14, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,390. Antiwar.com reports one of the most visible aspects of direct U.S. involvement in the Saudi invasion of Yemen, mid-air refueling of Saudi warplanes bombing the country, has come to an end over the weekend. U.S. and Saudi officials have both confirmed this program has halted. Saudi state media claim that they made the decision to halt the U.S. support because they can carry out their own in-air refueling missions now and don't need the U.S. U.S. officials suggested that this was part of a limited punishment that the Trump administration intends to impose over the murder of reporter Jamal Khashoggi. Defense Secretary James Mattis downplayed the news, however, and made no mention of previous demands for a ceasefire. Instead, he said the U.S. will continue to support the Saudi war in Yemen and collaborate on building up legitimate Yemeni forces. The timing, however, is telling. This comes just 2 weeks after the U.S. demanded a halt to Saudi strikes against populated parts of Yemen and several subsequent attacks on populated areas, killing civilians. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports the Camp Fire in California has killed at least 9 people and torn up more than 6,700 structures, becoming the most destructive wildfire to property in state history, according to officials on Saturday. In Northern California, the blaze has burned through 100,000 acres and, according to CAL FIRE on Saturday, was at 20% containment. In the southern part of the state, wildfires have charred up 40,000 acres. Among the 9 people killed in the Camp Fire, 4 were found in vehicles burned by the fire, according to the Butte County Sheriff's Office. Another individual was found outside a vehicle, and 3 bodies were found outside homes, and 1 was found inside a home. The victims have not been identified. Sheriff's deputies continue to search for bodies under the rubble and are fielding 35 official missing persons reports. The American Red Cross issued an alert for residents to register as safe and well. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Americans mark the 100th anniversary of the Armistice that ended World War I on Sunday, with celebrations ranging from high-tech light shows to somber gatherings in honor of the country's military veterans. More than 100,000 Americans died in World War I after the United States declared war on Germany on April 6, 1917, driving the nation into a global conflict. Although the United States entered the war in the later stage, many Americans had disagreed with the decision to join allies Britain, France, and Russia, some viewing it as an endless fight between old European rivals. The conflict erupted in 1914 after a teenage Bosnian Serb assassinated the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and his wife, Sarajevo. That lit the fuse for a war that would rewrite the world order, spell an end to empires, and claim the lives of more than 9 million soldiers. Dr. Matthew Naylor, president and CEO of the National World War I Museum and Memorial in Kansas City, Missouri, said, "The world today is more like the world in 1914 than it has been for the past 104 years. As we mark the 100 years since the Armistice, it is essential that we not sleepwalk into catastrophe." World War I, also known as the Great War, ended with world leaders at the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month, signing an armistice ending 4 years of bloody battles. The 100th anniversary of the peace agreement lends an extraordinary look to this year's commemorative ceremonies around the United States, where wreaths are placed on memorials and bells toll to ring in harmony. One of the most striking events is at the museum in Kansas City, where a massive light installation appeared to cover a memorial in 5,000 poppies for 9 consecutive evenings through Veterans Day to recognize the 9 million soldiers worldwide who died during World War I. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
A mouse is eaten. It is an event that happens millions of times a day, all over the world. Other mice are wiped out by disease or starvation. If you collected all the mice that die in one day in New York City, they would weigh 8,000 pounds. If you stacked up an equivalent amount of dead humans or even mangy dogs, it would be considered an atrocity. It seems no one has any respect for the mouse. But then, why should they? The plankton of mammals. They breed rapidly. They all look identical, and they once spread the plague. No one weeps for the mouse, for its life is worth less than 0. Just another cold fact of life on this horrifying planet.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Armistice Day edition here. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
Call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. That's what we do here on Free Talk Live. We open up the phone lines so you can talk freely live. If it's 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Eastern Time, wherever you are, whatever day of the year it is, you can call in to Free Talk Live at 855-450-3733. Or you can use the Discord. Just go to discord.freetalklive.com. That's discord.freetalklive.com. You'll need to download an app onto your phone, and then you can call in that way. But it's crystal clear. It's really great. Sounds like you're right in the studio. Discord.freetalklive.com. There are about 125 people active in the chat room on Discord right now. So Discord, active might not be the right term. At least reading online, logged in. I'm not sure what term to use. 855-450-3733. Laurel, apparently the president has made a proclamation that surrounds immigration or refugees.
It's in regard to the caravan. And there's actually two things that are happening right now. There's the presidential proclamation, and at the same time, there was issued in the Federal Register a rulemaking change. And the rulemaking change and the proclamation go hand in hand.
Okay.
So the proclamation says...
It's worth pointing out that you are an immigration attorney.
Yes.
Okay.
So the proclamation says that anybody who attempts to enter at a point other than a port of entry is not going to be let in.
Okay.
That you can't enter except lawfully at a port of entry. So anybody who's applying for asylum has to go to a port of entry. And that's different from previous rules where if you were busted trying to enter unlawfully, you could at least apply for asylum. Now he's saying, no, you're not even going to get to apply for asylum. If you're trying to enter unlawfully, you got to go to a point of entry.
Let me ask a question, because I know that currently, or prior to this rule, proclamation, whatever it is, someone could go to an embassy and file for asylum at the embassy. With this new rule where they're saying it must be done at port of entry, does that take away the ability to do so at an embassy? If so, it's going to greatly increase the backlog of people at ports of entry.
Right. You could still apply it at the consulate, but it's to stop people from trying to enter unlawfully.
I have one question, too. What is a port of entry? Is that any location where there's a border guard where they'll check your passport or whatever, or is it special ones of those?
No, it's any place where if you're a U.S. citizen and you're coming back from Mexico, you have to go through a certain place. You can't just enter anywhere. So it's any place where they're going to be checking your
every
passport.
International airport.
Yes.
Okay.
Most deep water ports where like cruise ships might go. So Galveston, Texas, Beaumont, Miami, Florida, Portsmouth, New Hampshire, Bar Harbor, Maine. Those are all ports of entry.
There's actually a lot of them. So yeah.
Kansas City is a port of entry. It's an international airport.
So the rulemaking change, which is in tandem with the presidential proclamation, says that anybody who actually does enter in violation of the proclamation is not going to be able to apply for asylum from within the U.S.
Okay.
So even if they didn't get caught trying to enter, if they entered the U.S. somehow, so they did enter because they're here now, they're still not going to be able to apply for asylum if they entered in violation of the proclamation.
So this caravan of thousands of people was... how were they going to enter the United States without going through a port of entry? I mean, there's fences all along the border, not everywhere on the border, but like
there are also holes in those fences.
There are
tunnels
and
in very inhospitable places.
Yeah, it's not a continuous fence, and that's one of the things that the president has been saying. So there's actually a lot of places
you can't put a fence in the middle of the Rio Grande, but I've been there, and there's certainly fences and stuff, interesting different ones, and that kind of thing.
Something that I've not heard very many people talk about is the rule, or I don't know if it was a rule or a proclamation from Jeff Sessions several months ago about who can apply for asylum. And he made it stricter to where if you are fleeing wherever you came from because of gang violence or domestic violence, that's no longer valid justification for seeking asylum in the United States.
Okay, let me clarify that. There's actually a body of case law where people who were making that claim were getting denied by the Board of Immigration Appeals. They were losing their cases. So what Jeff Sessions said was, that's no longer going to get you past the credible fear interview because we're seeing these cases get denied anyway. So most people were passing their credible fear interview, and then they were applying for asylum, and their asylum cases were getting denied. So Jeff Sessions said, okay, let's not let you get past the credible fear interview. This is going to be your basis because you're going to lose your asylum claim anyway.
So for me, I think that economic reasons or whatever would be fine reasons to decide to relocate. I mean, what did most of our ancestors come to the United States for? I guess my biggest problem with refugee status is that once one is called a refugee, wherever you are in the world, you have this whole list of entitlements that come along with it. So the United States government basically has to put you up in an apartment and get you some clothes, get you working and doing all these things. Is this correct?
Okay, let me explain the difference between a refugee and an asylee, because they're not the same thing.
Okay.
A refugee is somebody who's declared a refugee in either the country that they're originally from or in a second country, but not in the United States. You cannot come to the United States and claim refugee status. That is not available under the law.
Okay.
They have to be designated a refugee in another country, and the United States has to invite them. They have to decide to accept them before they come.
Okay.
Whereas an asylee just shows up and applies for asylum. So they're very different categories. There's a cap on refugees. There's no cap on asylees.
So what does an asylee get when they show up?
Protection from deportation.
I'd like to hear
basically. Yeah, they get that's basically it. They don't have to go home if they can prove their case, and they get an employment authorization document. Basically, if they're able to prove their case, they can get an EAD while the case is pending.
What's
and
an
then
EAD?
An employment authorization document.
All right.
Allows them to work. And if they win their case, then they have asylum status for 1 year, and then they can apply for permanent residence. Also, after a person is designated an asylee, they can petition for their spouse and children. And then, of course, after they become a permanent resident, it broadens the people they can
what
sponsor.
do the spouse and children get as far as welfare from the government?
Asylees, which is different from a lot of other non-immigrant categories or immigrant categories, asylees are eligible to apply for welfare immediately.
Okay.
Whereas most other immigrant categories are not able to apply for that for at least 5 years. Asylees are eligible to apply for things like food stamps and welfare and Section 8 housing. They're eligible for all of those right away.
Okay, I see a problem with that. Whereas I don't see a problem particularly with somebody saying, hey, it's really hard to get a job here, and there's gang violence going on, and, dad hits me. Like, I don't really care what the reasons are that one might want to seek a better life. What I care is that they might come here and again, siphoning off of the welfare state, which, depending on the numbers you read.
So that's a problem with the welfare state.
It's a welfare problem, not an immigration problem by my standard. But I guess the other thing is that I feel like Americans lump everybody together and tend not to distinguish, one from the other. This refugee, the asylum seeker.
Well, the press is doing that right now. With
Sure,
the Caravan.
they don't know either.
The press keeps calling them, potential asylees, and then they interview people and they ask them why they're coming, and they say, "I'm coming for a job." That's not an asylee.
Right.
That is an economic migrant. And most of the people in the caravan, even if you ask most immigration attorneys, they'll say, yeah, most of them are economic migrants, not asylees.
Yeah.
There are asylees within that group, to be sure, but they're probably a small minority.
So does the United States, on one hand, you hear that we have an aging population and that we're going to be in trouble. We got this demographic, bubble that's on the horizon, these kinds of things. On the other hand, they keep young, able-bodied people out. It seems like a really strange thing to do. I mean,
we allow 1.2 million lawful immigrants per year, so I don't know that we're keeping people out.
Well, if so, then why am I being told about a demographic bubble?
Enough. We're keeping some people out, but we're not. It's not a closed border. We are allowing in people that we think will help the United States or that have a reason to come. They have family here, etc.
I do not trust the bureaucrats that decide as to whether or not they're going to be helpful. I trust them to perpetuate their own jobs. So therefore, bringing in people the least competent. The number 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Bitcoin.com wants you to know about SaveItPurse.com. Since launching in 2014, over 200,000 users have saved an average of 15% for a combined $4 million using Bitcoin, or BTC. And now you can use Bitcoin Cash, BCH, to fund your account. You can save between 5 to 33% on things you're going to buy anyway when you shop using SaveItPurse.com. Add items to your cart, fund your account, select your discount, and save. SaveItPurse.com. Save atpurse.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening in your home anytime, anywhere. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL. Blink is an Amazon company.
Procter & Gamble introduced a beginner series of its Bounty paper towel brand this week, specifically designed to assist novices in acclimating to the household cleaning product. The new entry-level paper towels will reportedly feature bold labels and guide markers clearly printed on the surface of each sheet, as well as a step-by-step instructional DVD in each package.
Make sure that your paper towel is directly on top of the stain and not beside the stain. Otherwise, you won't absorb any liquid. Place your paper towel directly on the stain and make a gentle wiping motion.
In this week's local news, an area man knows that deep down, he's not done vomiting. In other news, Los Angeles residents are plagued by a roving pack of feral celebrities living in the Hollywood Hills. God wonders what happens to humans after they die. And a local dad clarifies that this is not a food stop. I was told early on that I would never be able to procreate, but I imagine the cold, dejected sensation I experience at the end of this news summary is similar to what a father feels when holding a child of his own flesh and blood.
This is the Onion News Network.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM.
Radio is the most personal of mediums. I exist right now in your head. If you listen to Free Talk Live regularly, you know me. Free Talk Live is on more than 160 radio stations around the U.S. and has been downloaded on every continent around the world. Hundreds of thousands of listeners with ad packages from $600 a month to $6,000 a month. Imagine what we can do for your business, project, website, or idea. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
Join the LRN.FM Discord for live chat 24/7 at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live, live Sunday edition. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. And Darryl, tell me about Liberty.menu.
Liberty.menu is something that a lot of libertarians have wanted for a long time, at least a decade that I'm aware of, and that's a directory of liberty-minded businesses. Liberty.menu is a tool for our community. At its core is a directory for events, businesses, digital content, and more. Listings can be rated and reviewed, and there's also a bit of a social networking aspect so that you can connect and share with others. Use of Liberty.menu is exclusively for individuals who reject the initiation of force and those who agree to abide by the ethics of the non-aggression principle. Put your voluntarist ideas into action at Liberty.menu. Use code FTL to get a special Free Talk Live listener badge. Now, we can't give you discounts because it's free to use, but you can get a really cool badge. Liberty.menu. Use code FTL.
And in the previous segment, we were talking about asylum seekers coming to the United States and some rules that have been changed there. Laurel, our Sunday night co-host here, she is an immigration attorney. And Laurel, I guess we got a call here from Vernon, New Orleans, wants to talk about asylum seeker benefits.
Sure.
Vernon, you're on Free Talk Live.
Wow, I cannot believe that they are allowed to have. They can immediately apply for welfare and food stamps. I mean, that I have never known that before.
After asylum is granted, not while it's pending, but once it's granted, then yes.
How long does that generally take?
It can be anywhere from a few months to a few years, depending on, there's different steps to the process. If you do an affirmative asylum claim and then it gets approved, it could only be a few months. But if it gets denied, you have to go to a judge. You know, it may take a year or longer, et cetera.
And there's a huge backlog. We talked about this a good bit on Thursday. There's a huge backlog before the judges, and they're from the federal government's perspective, they have about 100 fewer judges than they want. But to really catch up with the backlog, they need to basically triple the number of judges.
Did the caller have more questions before we get to that, though?
Yeah, I wanted to know what other, on top of that, once they get the food stamps. And are you talking, when you say welfare, are you talking about like Social Security benefits, like disability, or?
Yeah,
and then on top of that, they can automatically, once they get into the country and they're allowed to stay, they can send their children to a school. And even if they don't speak English, the school is required to permit them to come and teach them English as a second language at our cost.
Yes.
And then, what are the other things beyond just the federal government benefits that, maybe state benefits, like the state Medicare or Medicaid program?
Well, basically, somebody who's granted asylum is eligible for all the same public benefits as a U.S. citizen. They're not banned from any of them.
They're not going to be making enough money to disqualify for that, and they probably won't be for some time. So obviously, they're probably going to automatically qualify, especially if they have those kids with them. So it's just, to me, that's just very eye-opening, because I had no idea that, with my property taxes, and I'm on the very liberal side, don't get me wrong, I'm extremely liberal, but it just drives me insane when I hear about, it's not even just, immigrants in general, it's just anybody that mooches off the system. And I think a lot of people...
How can you be liberal and worried about somebody who mooches off the system? Describe your liberalness. Sorry? How could you be liberal and worried about people mooching off the system?
It's an interesting combination. I don't know. It's hard to describe what I am. But
let me tell you one of the things that Congress was thinking when when Congress allowed asylees to get these benefits. Part of what Congress was thinking was that there wouldn't be very many asylees. It's clear in the way that a lot of the rules are crafted that they thought this was going to be an unusual form of relief, and that there would not be that many people getting asylum.
Are there many people getting asylum?
Yes.
Okay, and why are they getting it? What's generally the reason?
Over time, the standard for granting it has been broadening and broadening and broadening.
Broadened by whom?
In the courts.
The courts have broadened it.
Yes.
Okay.
For the what's called the protected social group has been expanding over time. Originally,
so there was a provision called a protected social group, and now everybody has their sub ethnicity or wherever they're from, right?
Well, ethnicity would be, you can get asylum if you're being persecuted by the government on the basis of your ethnicity, your religion, your political affiliation, or membership in a protected social group. And it's that last one that is not very well defined, and that has been the basis for sort of expanding the number of people who are getting asylum.
Okay.
So one last question, and then I'll hang up. What brought you to want to do immigration, be an immigration attorney out of all of the concentration in the legal realm that you could have chosen? And do you personally find that it's beneficial to advocate for people that are being drawn up here primarily for the public benefit that's available? And can you comment on that? And I'll go ahead and hang up. Thank you.
I don't know that most economic migrants are coming to get benefits for themselves. Are the asylees coming for that? I think the true asylees and the ones who actually get granted, I think they're coming for the asylum. I think they're coming because they're actually in danger. So I don't know that it's asylees. True asylees are being enticed to come because of public benefits. I'm not sure that I'm seeing evidence of that. Is it possible that economic migrants are coming because they want benefits for the children that they have in the U.S.? That's a possibility, but that is not what we're talking about with asylees getting it. So
Right.
I think we might be conflating two different issues with that. And the question of how did I become an immigration lawyer?
Why, actually? But,
yes, why? When I was in law school, my boyfriend at the time, who's the father of my son, he was unlawfully present immigrant. So I was already know about that community.
That's the term we use, unlawfully
present immigrant.
Okay.
So yeah, he was my boyfriend at the time, and I was very interested in that subject matter. We've split up many, many, many years ago, but I stuck with immigration law. So here we are.
Well, it's certainly, it's a growing field. There's no doubt about that. I guess
I don't know that it's growing. I don't know that it's that much different from when I first started practicing 15 years ago. It's different. I mean, it's not bigger.
As a libertarian, I guess for me, it doesn't particularly matter to me why a person is present in the country. It's because, to me, the United States government, like any government out there, is just the biggest gang present in a given geopolitical designation. They're, and that the borders are the places where the wars stopped being fought. So, all of that is sort of arbitrary. To me, what matters is how much money is this person going to cost me.
You know what I will say is the people in the caravan were offered refugee status in Mexico and declined. So that is possibly an argument for these asylees are in fact coming for the public benefits in the United States, because even though they are also
the jobs
seeking
are better
refuge,
too.
the jobs are better. But they could, if they only want safety, then they could have had it in Mexico. And yeah, there's a high crime rate in Mexico, but there's also places where they are certainly safer than they were in Honduras. And if we say Mexico is too dangerous of a place to live, then everybody in Mexico is eligible for asylum. So I don't think that's going to happen.
And one thing that's interesting that I've only seen a few reports of, these quote unquote caravans. It's not something that just popped up. There have been people coming from Honduras every year.
But they didn't come together like this. They didn't come in these large groups of thousands. This is the largest in a decade.
But they were piling up on top of that train, the rape train of death, or whatever the hell they were calling it, that was going from Central America up through Mexico and that kind of thing.
Right.
Piling up on the top of this train.
This is the largest in a decade, but there have been groups coming for at least a decade, if not 15 years or more.
Your call's coming up. I'd love to hear your thoughts on immigration. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live.
We'll talk about the
hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
Hear that? That's the sound of a house being trashed while a gang of thieves ransack the place. And what they don't steal will be destroyed.
This year, resolve not to be the next victim of a break-in. Go to faketv.com and discover a device that creates the illusion someone inside is watching TV, even when you're miles away. Security is a mindset, and Fake TV should be part of your security solution. Be vigilant, but not fearful. faketv.com.
Since time began, tyrants have taken aim at personal liberties. Now there's a movie that aims back.
The government has no more right to tell us what to put in our bodies than they have to take our guns or tell us what books we can read.
6 drug police were eaten by bears while raiding a marijuana farm.
On your knees, you dirty hippies! Jesus. On your knees! What's the problem, officer?
Today, many cops who enforce pot laws do so only because it provides them with cushy jobs, good benefits, and a chance to push people around.
I was an undercover narcotics officer. The drug war is nothing but a farce.
The Second Amendment says you gotta keep you and your gat intact.
Guns and Weed, The Road to Freedom. A film by Michael W. Dean and Nima Vadadi.
DVD available now at gunsandweed.com or on Amazon. That's gunsandweed.com. Makes the perfect gift. Remember, that's gunsandweed.com.
This Your Family Today tip is brought to you by Nestle Toll House Refrigerated Cookie Dough. Who would you bake some love for? Find fun and easy baking ideas at tollhouse.com. Kids love doing arts and crafts projects, especially when you join in. Try channeling all that artistic energy into the kitchen and bake up some creative treats together. Think of your art supplies as the frosting, sprinkles, and decorating gels, and use cookies or cupcakes as your canvas. For more tips like these, visit us at parenthood.com/yourfamilytoday.
LRN.FM is proud to announce our official listening apps for Android and iOS devices. Now you can easily tune into our streams anywhere, anytime on your smartphone or tablet. Just visit apps.lrn.fm or search for LRN.FM in the Android or Apple app stores. Please download, rate us 5 stars, then share the link on your social media and let your friends and family know how you're listening to LRN.FM. Download it now, free at apps.lrn.fm.
Excuse me, is this where I get a license to start a new business?
I wouldn't be hasty. You have to get a license to go out of business, too, you know.
Oh, well, look, I've invented this little anti-gravity machine, see?
Oh, is that why you're walking 2 inches above the floor?
Oh, yes, it's very comfortable. It saves on shoe leather.
Yeah, well, you have to fill out these forms and report to the Human Services Department of Manpower Orientation and register with the Fair Employment Practice Commission, the Wage and Hour Division of the Employment Standards Administration, the State Sales and Income Tax Division, the Internal Revenue Service, and the Social Security Administration of the Department of Health, Education, and Welfare, and, of course, OSHA.
OSHA? I thought that was a little town in Wisconsin.
You'll find out. Say, floating around like that could be dangerous. Have you checked with the Consumer Product Safety Commission?
Well, not yet.
Come to think of it, you actually are flying, aren't you? Look, you need to go over to the Federal Aviation Administration and the Transportation...
It's very hard to get anything done these days if you're in business, but free enterprise built this country. Think what could happen if we don't keep it free. A public service of this station and the Center for the Defense of Free Enterprise, Bellevue, Washington.
We just can't have people floating about unregulated, you know.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live Sunday edition. Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
The number's 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Blink home security systems, they can be very useful for a variety of circumstances. Not only does the Blink home security camera and LED light pop on whenever there's movement in front of it, but you can sort of tune in anytime you want. Right now, I could go and look at my Blink cameras, check out my house, see what's going on. And I think that's a really great value. I can also say I've set one up on my compost heap to see what's going on. At this point, I haven't found the offender that's been knocking over the buckets, but I did find quite a few little white-footed mice that are running around there. I can't believe my cat Sybil is allowing this to happen. I can see her. She's traveling in and out, but somehow the mice are just dodging her. I can see the times. I can see when she walks in, the mice just, that time to come wandering out. It's amazing. You can not only keep your house protected from burglars with no contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink, by the way, works with Alexa. You can get your cameras system starting at less than $100. Again, I said no contracts, no subscriptions. $100 starts the whole process here. Basically, nothing else, unless you want to add more cameras. I guess you can do that. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. This system can be expanded to something much more robust if you wish, but you get a really great system for $100. Blinkprotect.com/FTL. I'm very, very happy with mine. So, where were we on this? We were discussing.
We were about to talk about the backlog.
Yeah, the backlog of immigration. Let's get to Tom from New Hampshire, who's calling in regarding Veterans Day, and we've got another call waiting after that. Tom, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, Veterans Day is a day set up to honor the veterans and honor everything that they've done, like dropping napalm on children in Vietnam, or fighting a war in Iraq so Vice President Cheney's friends at Halliburton could make money off the oil. But I think we need to remember some of the good things that veterans have done over the years, like on July 17, 2016, when that Marine Corps veteran in Baton Rouge, Louisiana, went out and gunned down 3 cops.
Oh, my. Thanks for the call, Tom.
Yeah.
Thoughts, Laurel? Welcome to Free Talk Live.
I mean, there's bad people in all groups, so And the soldiers are a large group.
They're the good. Tom thinks that people killing cops are the good people.
Oh, I see.
Because he
I
wants
misunderstood.
he wants more government bureaucrats to be killed.
I can only imagine that that's going to cause some kind of crackdown or whatever. But
also, I'm not in favor of aggression, so I'm not in favor of people getting killed.
Yeah, I'm not in favor of killing anybody. Ever.
Yeah. Same here. Let's go to Flames calling in on the Discord line. By the way, you can too. Discord.freetalklive.com. Flames, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your
Hey, what's going on, guys? How you doing, Darryl?
Good. There's Darryl, Mark, and Laurel here.
And Mark and Laurel. I don't think I met those two. Last time I was on there, I remember Darryl. I remember his face. I just popped in again. I'm pretty clueless of this whole. You guys are talking about immigration, and then they're talking about asylums. I don't know if you're talking about like crazy immigrants. But I mean, if you don't mind giving me a brief summary, and how would not just affect me, but of course I'm part of affecting the whole, affecting the people, of what's going on.
American citizens,
right? Yeah.
How does immigration affect Americans?
Well, I mean, okay, let me start off with this. What is asylum immigration? What is that exactly? Like in simple terms, if you could, for us common folk.
Sure. Somebody who is applying for asylum is claiming that their government is persecuting them on the basis of their religion, ethnic group, political opinion, or membership in a protected social group. The perpetrator must be the government. It cannot be, and they cannot just simply be the victim of criminal activity in their country. So it's somebody who is fleeing the government in their home country, and it has to be that the government is after that person in particular, and not merely that there's widespread civil unrest. That would be a refugee.
Is this a new thing? Because
the asylum's been around for a long time, and asylum it became a bigger thing, if you will, after World War I. There was a treaty signed, and it was partially because I think a lot of the countries felt guilty that the Jews had applied for visas in various.
World War II, then?
Yeah, World War II. A lot of Jews had applied for visas and had been denied. And then a lot of countries felt really bad when they saw what had happened. So there was that, and then there was also the Cold War, where people were really being oppressed on the basis of political opinions in the Eastern Bloc countries. So asylum sort of grew out of those two things. It grew out of World War II and the Holocaust, and it grew out of the Cold War. So those are the people that the government had in mind when they created the rules for asylum.
The UN Declaration of Human Rights says everyone has the right to seek and enjoy in other countries asylum from persecution.
Mm-hmm.
So could I throw an example out there just to help me fully understand? So let's say, all right, so 9/11 happened, and like a lot of Muslims were getting fire for that. And it's so do they get action at the asylum immigration, like, hey, just because of my religion or my ethnicity, I'm being oppressed? Or if I get if you're black, and then people, the whole is it like a racist kind of thing? And besides,
it can be. I mean, it's still the easiest asylum cases to win are Russian Jews to this day, because quite often they are identified by the Russian government, and then they'll actually come after them. Or also another example would be, let's say you have somebody who's conducting mass in their home in China when they don't allow people to practice religion there. So somebody who's actually conducting the mass may wind up with a warrant for his arrest specifically because he's conducting mass. So it would be for his religion, and then the government, and very specifically because of his religion, the government is very particularly after him, and it is the government that's after him and not some criminal element.
Okay. All right. I see. All right. So
Thanks for the call, Flames. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. A lot has been made about this caravan that's headed up here. Laurel, do you think that I've decided your name's Lauren, and it's going to be so hard for me to break that.
I'll break you of that habit.
I appreciate it. Do you see any threat for Americans on this, or is this just political brinksmanship.
A threat. Okay, let's talk about what we mean by a threat. I don't think that the caravan is going to bring down the United States. It's not some huge threat to the future of the United States, that particular caravan. Is it a threat to the CBP officials? Absolutely. Their lives could be in danger based on what I've seen the caravan
Customs
doing.
and Border Patrol?
Yes.
Okay.
CBP, based on what I've seen, the interactions between members of the caravan and officials in Mexico. They were throwing rocks. They were, there's some reports that they're armed. But, I mean, somebody throwing a rock can kill you if it's a big rock, which is what they were throwing. So are they?
It looked really bad at Kent State, though, when they opened fire on the college students that allegedly threw rocks. Like, this is the other thing that's really difficult is that if they open fire on this caravan, they're probably not going to just hit the rock throwers. And also, you can be certain someone will speculate that that an agitator, that a government agitator was amongst. No, I don't know which government. I wouldn't claim to know that. Was amongst the crowd and probably threw the rocks and all this stuff. This always happens.
Whether to open fire, that's not a question of is throwing the rock a threat. That's how do you respond to the threat. So it doesn't really go to that question of are they a threat or not. But
I think Customs and Border Patrol could probably stand several hundred feet off the border with guns and then not worry about rocks.
But they're going to come forward. So it's not like they're going to stay over there on the other side of the river and behave themselves. That's kind of the point.
Well, I mean, there's the places I've been along the border, there's always just a bunch of walls. I mean, isn't most of it covered in walls?
No.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. Do you operate a retail business and are looking for a solution for point-of-sale cryptocurrency acceptance? It's never been easier thanks to AnyPay.global. There's no paperwork or approval process to open an account. If you already have a tablet at your cash register, you're almost done. Just sign up at AnyPay.global, drop your personal crypto wallet addresses in our setup page, and then load our app. That's it. You're accepting cryptocurrency like Bitcoin and Dash at your store. Get started now at AnyPay.global. That's AnyPay.global.
Most of you know that heart disease is the #1 silent killer in the U.S. What if I told you for just $54.95 a month you could fight against heart disease naturally? At Heart and Body Extract, we've been helping thousands of people get back to a healthier heart. Don't just take my word for it. Check out all of the success stories at hbextract.com. Or to order, call 866-295-5305. That's 866-295-5305. hbextract.com. Don't risk it when you can take charge of it.
By now you know that wireless technology like cell phones do in fact pose dangers to the health and privacy of everyone. Blockit Pocket's wide range of products are unmatched in providing the protection you deserve. No scare tactics, just common sense. BlockitPocket.com offers quality American-made options to alleviate and eliminate these invisible dangers. Learn more at BlockitPocket.com or call 888-315-9618. BlockitPocket.com, enhancing health and privacy.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at shiresociety.com. That's shiresociety.com. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and one with just the Edgington Post. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com. What do you shop for that you could otherwise buy at Amazon? Pretty much everything, right? Amazon has competitive pricing and they deliver, and that's a big plus. If you could plan ahead in your shopping, would you be interested in saving up to 33%? There's a catch. You have to do your shopping in Bitcoin. But imagine those savings. It's like a huge raise. All you have to do is go to saveatpurse.com. We've saved thousands, and you can too. Plan ahead and save. Saveatpurse.com.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live Sunday, live Armistice Day edition of Free Talk Live. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. You're welcome to call in and talk about whatever you want. We've been talking about immigration, specifically the asylum-seeking caravan.
Uh-huh.
And we've also talked about World War I, Armistice Day. You know, it's the day for it. Let's go to Bruce calling in from New Jersey. Bruce, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hello, you mean me?
Bruce, yeah, we can hear you fine. What's going on?
I'm Bill. I'm sorry.
All right, Bill?
Yeah, I just want to... That's all right. Yeah, I guess about the name. So it's Darryl, Laurel, and Mike?
Mark.
Yeah.
Mark. Okay. I'm sorry I got that wrong.
No problem at all.
I just wanted to... I'm just thinking of listening to this. I've worked with the homeless in New Jersey for 40 years.
Okay.
And it's very similar kind of situation. Nobody wants them around. And immigrants are treated they probably want them less around, but the attitude is still not in my backyard, you know. So I kind of look at it and say, we should be aggressively reaching out to these people. This is a long walk for these guys, and they're going to be beat up and tortured and tired, and we should be 100 miles out or a couple beyond the border. We should get Mexico's permission. We should put a virtual tent paradise there, put water and have everything ready for them. We should make life simple and easy, and we should call them out with just a simple techniques of saying families here, single men here, single women here, and the bad guys will find them out in time. And I think there's probably less bad guys than there are good guys. And I want to say that I think we should feed them and clothe them. We should help them, and we should also pay them to stay on the other side of the border. We should take the welfare resources that we have on this side and offer to them on that side. You immediately increase the value of their lives. You help them in their life. You help create a whole middle class in Mexico.
Hold on. So I want to make sure that I'm hearing something correctly. So to prevent people from possibly collecting welfare in the United States, we should give them welfare so that they stay in another country?
Yeah, it's very inexpensive. You know, welfare is not much. How much? I'm a single person gets $140 a month. That's the cashback benefit for singles. For a mother with one child, it's $322. I mean, it's not. It has never been increased since today.
So what I hear you saying is that the money would go further, and we would be able to help more people if we helped them in Mexico.
Yes, you're absolutely right. That's what I'm saying.
I guess I would ask this question: is that churches are international? Specifically, the Catholic Church comes to mind, but lots of churches use immigration as their mission. Wouldn't it be? I mean, couldn't churches do this? Set up the tents, give people some kind of help.
Absolutely, they should be part of it. I would bring every group together and say, listen, let's pull our resources, let's get it done. Because we don't want violence. We don't want people fighting on the border line. We don't want them killing each other. We don't want them killing our people who are trying to secure the border. We want to do something smart.
Well, really, what you're suggesting is
I think what you're saying is smarter.
What you're suggesting is consistent with the international rules for refugees. You're basically, what I hear you saying is set up refugee camps for these refugees in Mexico, which would be the second country. And then normally what would happen after that, if there are refugees, a large group of refugees in a second country, is the first world countries would volunteer to take a certain number of refugees from that second country. So that is the normal procedure.
No, I would not call them refugees. I'd make them citizens of Mexico. I would say you are now part of this nation, and if they migrate over and work their way over in time, because it'll be close to the border,
well,
then they can work.
That's not going to be our decision. For them to remain in Mexico forever would be Mexico's decision, and actually Mexico did extend that offer.
So that's good. So that means you already
and
have
they
the
declined.
groundwork laid for that.
But they declined.
Somebody else is pushing them, though. That's why we should be out ahead of them.
Who's pushing them? I don't know anything about this pushing.
Well, who's financing this? I mean, these people have to maintain themselves. They would die on the way if they have water, food. I mean, this is a long trek.
The media has shown some pictures of them begging in the streets in Mexico, and the local Mexicans giving them food and water.
Okay, well, that's wonderful too. That means the Mexicans could start helping that way too.
Most of them say at interviews that basically they say that they want better jobs. Mm-hmm. That the reason for their immigration is to find work, and I find that to be laudable. That's what I would want for them too. I guess my solution for this, Bruce, is that
Bill.
It's Bill.
I'm sorry, Bill. It's written Bruce. And I mean, the whole world's conspiring against me. My solution to this, Bill, is and some of the other radio talk show hosts have adopted the same thought. The sucker DJs stealing my rhymes. Is that basically let anybody who wants to come to this country and work for a better life come here and work for a better life, but don't let them collect a penny that from public funds. They can go ahead if churches want to give them money by all means. A free organization of free people should be able to do that. But I think that we'd probably find relatively quickly what equilibrium is from a socioeconomic standpoint, because there are some people who come to this country for handouts. Some people come to this country to work for a better life, and I would like to know who's who, because the people who are working for a better life have built this country to make it great, and the people that are looking for handouts, well, we just don't need them. They can stay wherever they are.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you don't need nobody's done any investigation of this population at all.
There's an easy way. You don't have to investigate. If you just stop benefits to anybody who comes to, I don't mean specifically this group of caravan. I'm talking about anybody who comes to the country. Just stop benefits to those groups.
Some people would say sidewalks, roads, and fire departments are benefits.
I don't know how to stop that, but I'll go ahead and say that you should have to pay extra taxes for that. Go ahead.
Extra taxes. They're killing us for. I would gladly pay taxes to help human life rather than take human life.
I'm with you on that. I feel the same way. However, I'm trying to figure out a solution that works for everybody. And I can tell you that the solution of preferring to pay for taxes to give benefits to migrants does not work for everybody, Bill.
I don't call them migrants. I call them human beings.
Fine.
And that's the difference.
I think
it's like. I mean, let's face it. I mean, it's an infinitesimal amount of money that comes out of your tax dollars to help people. It's tiny.
Bill,
it's the cumulative amount of money that comes out that they cover the waste all the time.
Yeah.
If they just so instead of letting them waste,
but the government is a wasteful organization and has been since we've had a government.
Actually, most of our tax dollars go to benefits. Most of our tax dollars go to education, Social Security, and Medicaid. So that is actually the bulk of our taxes.
That's right. It does go to welfare.
Well, I mean, what's welfare? So if we're talking about TANF, that is actually a very small portion of our tax money.
It's very small.
But the other things, education, Medicaid, Medicare, and Social Security, those are huge, including Social Security disability.
Let me ask you this, Bill. My son's 10 years old. He has never stepped foot in a government school. Should me and my family, should we have to pay money to keep the government school in my town going while my son doesn't benefit from it?
Sure.
Why?
Because that's how the town is built.
Well, I don't care how the town is built. My son didn't build the town. Why should his educational dollars be stolen from him and given to some kid who probably whose family probably drives a nicer car than my 2002 F-350?
Oh, yeah, I don't know.
What are the benefits? What are the benefits that was available? I used to live in Texas, and when my children were little, I was struggling at the time. It was very expensive for me to pay for daycare, so I was a little taken aback when I learned that if my children did not speak English, they would be able to go to early kindergarten for free, regardless of their income. So there were people who made more than I did, and their children were eligible for free daycare, and mine weren't because we spoke English and they didn't. So that was a surprise. That was something my kids were not eligible for at all, but my tax money was still going to pay for that.
Well, I can't. That's what your state set up, right?
It was a state benefit in Texas.
Yeah, so somebody was able to get that passed. I don't know how that happened. So I just know that if that can happen, other things can happen to benefit other people. I think there should be open benefits for everybody. We should have, our taxes are going to go for something. So why don't we make a system that makes sense and help as many people as we can help, even if they're immigrants or they're citizens.
Are you in any way, shape, or form concerned about the $21 trillion the United States is in debt?
Absolutely not, because there's no real debt. If they had $21 trillion in the hole, how can they continue to pay? They just print the money. It's ridiculous. There's no debt. And if it's debt to China, who's going to China? They're not going to over collect it.
Thanks for the call, Bill. I appreciate it. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Free Talk Live.
Times are changing. The circus of politics, healthcare's low standards and high prices, and let's not forget food quality. What to do? Arm yourself with Life Change Tea at GetTheTea.com. In a world of chemical imbalance and poor air and water quality, it's time you make a move. Log on to GetTheTea.com and stock up on organic non-GMO supplements. Don't forget the tea. Cleansing your body never felt so good. And we have a brand new tea called Takedown Tea, which helps support healthy glucose. All natural body support so you can be at your best, naturally. All you have to do is log on to GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. We're not a fad that comes and goes. We are the real deal. Join us and armor up. GetTheTea.com. That's GetTheTea.com. Changing America's health one tea bag at a time.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com. LRN.FM now has a Discord. Discord is a free text and voice chat platform, and we now have our own server with a bunch of channels at discord.lrn.fm. You can join other listeners as they chat about various things during our live shows, or anytime, day or night. Discord software is available cross-platform, so you can have it on whatever device you want and take your chats anywhere. Join our Discord at discord.lrn.fm. That's discord.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
From Keene, the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Darryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Sunday, November 11th, 2018. Silver is trading at $14.16 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,209 per ounce. Zen is trading at $14, and the average price of Bitcoin is $6,390. Antiwar.com reports one of the most visible aspects of direct U.S. involvement in the Saudi invasion of Yemen, mid-air refueling of Saudi warplanes bombing the country, has come to an end over the weekend. U.S. and Saudi officials have both confirmed this program has halted. Saudi state media claim that they made the decision to halt the U.S. support because they can carry out their own in-air refueling missions now and don't need the U.S. U.S. officials suggested that this was part of a limited punishment that the Trump administration intends to impose over the murder of reporter Jamal Khashoggi. Defense Secretary James Mattis downplayed the news, however, and made no mention of previous demands for a ceasefire. Instead, he said the U.S. will continue to support the Saudi war in Yemen and collaborate on building up legitimate Yemeni forces. The timing, however, is telling. This comes just 2 weeks after the U.S. demanded a halt to Saudi strikes against populated parts of Yemen and several subsequent attacks on populated areas, killing civilians. Zencash is now Horizon. Horizon is a privacy platform built on zero-knowledge technology with a decentralized secure node architecture. The Horizon platform enables real-life uses beyond currency, including the ability to privately chat with other people. Soon, Horizon will enable you to publish information and go anywhere on the web, all with complete privacy. Horizon, bringing privacy to life. Learn more at horizon.global. HORIZEN.global. UPI reports the Camp Fire in California has killed at least 9 people and torn up more than 6,700 structures, becoming the most destructive wildfire to property in state history, according to officials on Saturday. In Northern California, the blaze has burned through 100,000 acres and, according to CAL FIRE on Saturday, was at 20% containment. In the southern part of the state, wildfires have charred up 40,000 acres. Among the 9 people killed in the Camp Fire, 4 were found in vehicles burned by the fire, according to the Butte County Sheriff's Office. Another individual was found outside a vehicle, and 3 bodies were found outside homes, and 1 was found inside a home. The victims have not been identified. Sheriff's deputies continue to search for bodies under the rubble and are fielding 35 official missing persons reports. The American Red Cross issued an alert for residents to register as safe and well. You can support FPP Radio by joining the Fans program. Fans help FPP afford to produce more original content. You can join the Fans program for as little as $1 per month through Patreon and get perks like ad-free versions of FPP Radio News and Peace, Love, Liberty Radio. To learn more or to join the Fans program, visit fans.fppradio.com. That's fans.fppradio.com. Reuters reports Americans mark the 100th anniversary of the Armistice that ended World War I on Sunday, with celebrations ranging from high-tech light shows to somber gatherings in honor of the country's military veterans. More than 100,000 Americans died in World War I after the United States declared war on Germany on April 6, 1917, driving the nation into a global conflict. Although the United States entered the war in the later stage, many Americans had disagreed with the decision to join allies Britain, France, and Russia, some viewing it as an endless fight between old European rivals. The conflict erupted in 1914 after a teenage Bosnian Serb assassinated the heir to the Austro-Hungarian throne, Archduke Franz Ferdinand, and his wife, Sarajevo. That lit the fuse for a war that would rewrite the world order, spell an end to empires, and claim the lives of more than 9 million soldiers. Dr. Matthew Naylor, president and CEO of the National World War I Museum and Memorial in Kansas City, Missouri, said, "The world today is more like the world in 1914 than it has been for the past 104 years. As we mark the 100 years since the Armistice, it is essential that we not sleepwalk into catastrophe." World War I, also known as the Great War, ended with world leaders at the 11th hour on the 11th day of the 11th month, signing an armistice ending 4 years of bloody battles. The 100th anniversary of the peace agreement lends an extraordinary look to this year's commemorative ceremonies around the United States, where wreaths are placed on memorials and bells toll to ring in harmony. One of the most striking events is at the museum in Kansas City, where a massive light installation appeared to cover a memorial in 5,000 poppies for 9 consecutive evenings through Veterans Day to recognize the 9 million soldiers worldwide who died during World War I. This has been FPP Radio News. Online at fppradio.com.
The nation's quadriplegics immobilized on Washington in support of stem cell research, and a Penn State t-shirt is awkwardly looked away from. And now for the weekly feature your fragile, susceptible mind already has your lips salivating for. This is The Onion Week in Review. Sources reported today that 10-year-old Brandon Thomas, who is currently homesick at his friend Kevin's sleepover, needs to just tough it the fuck out.
I don't feel like playing Xbox right now.
The pathetic little bitch who claims he just doesn't feel like eating any birthday cake or joining in any activities with his friends, frankly needs to grow a pair because his parents only live 10 minutes away, for Christ's sake. Here's what the whiny pansy had to say for himself.
I wasn't crying. It's just allergies. I want to go home.
What a f***ing wuss. In other news, a voicemail from mom is deleted 3 words in, and a man with nice eyes is blown. All right, now off with you. I can't have you seeing me like this. For more, visit theonion.com/newsbeat.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Third hour of Free Talk Live. The live Sunday, live Armistice Day edition. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
The number is 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. You can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. Happy to hear from you here on Free Talk Live. That's what we do. You're free to call in and talk live on the radio. And we'll take your calls. Let's go to Sarah calling in from New Mexico. Sarah, you're on Free Talk Live.
Oh, yes. You know, I met 4 people that they were in jail, and then when they got released, they were given SSI disability checks for, like myself, for the rest of their lives. And I guess being incarcerated, you know, it means that they're disabled.
I was incarcerated for some period of time in the state of Florida, and there was this piece of paper that would float around, kind of like a chain letter, suggesting that once you got out of prison, that basically prison was a form of disability, and that you could, file for some kind of paperwork. I never believed it for a second, and I found a lot of people saying basically it was compost. And however, it may be true, but is it? Like, did you talk to these people, or is this just something you heard? I guess the first question I have.
Well, 2 of them, I met them. I met the 2 of them, and I heard them talking on the bus. The other one that I knew because they were my next door neighbor. You know, the mother told me. So
that their disability is jail, basically. Or that they have a disability. Like, you can be disabled and go to jail and come out and get benefits or something, but...
Well, you know what? One of them was actually a bipolar. I think she might have had this bipolar mental illness, and plus she was illiterate. And the other one was, like, almost illiterate. Like,
illiteracy isn't a disability.
Right, but I was told that a lot of illiterate people are in jail. So it's a kind of like a form of a disability. I mean, you could still be illiterate and still function, but it's very hard for you to function in society, so you wind up in jail. So I mean, those combinations. But I mean, like you said, the option is there. If it's like they offered it to you, even though you did not take it.
I'm not a disability attorney, but I believe that being in jail is not going to meet the medical definition of disability. It's not a medical condition.
Yeah, I had a roommate at one point that had previously been on disability, and he basically just found not working to be highly depressive. You know, like it caused situational depression, and I believe that. I believe that people generally need work, that idle hands do the devil's work, as it were, and that people need work to, like, that's just the kind of creature we are. We need work to create meaning in our lives. Mm-hmm. And without that work to create meaning, that it can, well, once your life is meaningless, then what? Mm-hmm. Not everybody needs work to create meaning. They'll do their own things. It'll probably still be work. They may not be paid for it in the same way, but most of us want to be told what to do to some extent, got a paycheck to do it, and have it laid out before us, get better at that same skill over time, and that sort of thing.
This is one of my problems with public education, is it teaches people to be told what to do, that they can't function if someone's not telling them what to do, and they're trained for that in the public education system.
Yeah. It doesn't train initiative at all.
No, it doesn't train entrepreneurship. It's training people to be employees, not employers.
My favorite was, we did have an entrepreneur class in high school. It was taught by the shop teacher.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a lifetime government bureaucrat teaching you entrepreneurship out of a book, right? Like this guy knows how to plane wood. He does not really know anything about entrepreneurship. He's just reading the book to you. It was very surreal experience. Really got me to understand what teaching was all about in the government system. This, by the way, was my first move. This was the first year from my move from private school to public school, and I just thought, oh, this is dumb. Like, obviously, this guy doesn't believe this. He doesn't understand it. The book is. It was kind of the book was held together in a 3-ring binder. This is a pilot program to some extent, and the government schools shot at teaching entrepreneurship. It's hilarious. Sarah,
it does.
Go ahead.
I mean, it does benefit the society in the long run.
What does?
To give them a check, and rather than being being in jail again.
Well,
because they can't leave.
But if they're depressed because they're not working, and then they get Social Security disability, that enables them to continue not working, so they're still depressed.
Right.
So does it really help them?
Depression and chemical depression are completely different things, but a lot of times people will confuse the two.
They have no money. They cannot have a job. They cannot work.
Right. That is situational depression, where they're depressed about where they are in life. It's not depression caused by a chemical imbalance in the brain.
And I think that people who used to be incarcerated can work. Yes, their opportunities are much more limited than they were before. But I think that there are plenty of examples of people who used to be incarcerated and are now working.
They have a lot of programs, Sarah, for people who get out of incarceration. They got halfway houses and employment placement programs and things like that. It's not that difficult. I'll admit to being lucky, but to have a certain level of sort of privilege, as it were. I decided when I got out of prison, I wasn't going to share that information with people. I was just going to create a resume that wasn't entirely fake, but perhaps left out the incarceration part, the 8.5-year incarceration part. So I talked about job skills, made the work that I did sort of imaginary, but at the same time, it was always the work that I did. So I did these things, but I made, the businesses were imaginary in which I did them. And that was fine for the business. I just sort of worked my way up, started doing this home improvement for the family, and then having a job waiting tables and working at a health club. And then at some point or another, at the health club, somebody came by, hired me for the radio station group, and then, went on from there. And had some success, but people can get jobs out of jail.
But you know what? These 4 people, they were given disability. I mean, you're an exception. I mean, there's people.
How did I get to be an exception?
Now, one of the problems, and Sarah, I think you might agree with me here, way too many people are being incarcerated.
Right, and it costs more money per day. Is it cheaper to give them a check for $735 or incarcerate them for year after year, and they come?
Or how about we not incarcerate nonviolent victimless offenders? That's a better idea.
I'm not sure that very many people are in prison that are committing crimes because of abject poverty. They may be on the lower end of the socioeconomic scale, but I mean, a lot of these guys were very proud of, I'm just remembering here, very proud of their lifestyle that they were able to make through crime. And by crime, I'm talking about selling drugs and stuff like that. Lots of bad things happen with selling drugs. I don't think selling drugs itself should be a crime. But nonetheless, they weren't trying to make ends meet. They were renting Cadillacs. So that's a different story. I don't think you're going to solve crime by handing out $700 a month, Sarah.
Well, I mean, it depends on the individual.
Sure.
So, I mean, it depends. I mean, on case by case. these poor people, they said, we'll give you exercise, you want to take it, and they took it.
But one of the problems with disability, Sarah, is that once you are on disability, you can't work. Like I think that you can't work at all. Is that correct? And earn money?
Well, you could do I could do volunteer
and earn
work,
money. I meant work is and earn money. Can you earn any money?
Can you get a paycheck from a company?
Well, I could work and still get like a $10 worth of check if I wanted to, but I am not working though.
How much? I'm not asking if you are working or not. I'm asking if you can.
You can't work.
How much?
You can't work and you could even get off exercise if you wanted to.
I know that. That's okay. Look, if you give somebody $700 a month, they're going to try to protect that. They want that free $700 a month,
right?
And then
for every dollar they're
going to follow the rules so they can keep it. And if the rule is you can't work, then you're basically making it so that they can never get ahead. Thanks for the call, Sarah. 855-450-3733. Free Talk Live. 855-450-FREE.
From the second letter of Captain Mark. Any pirate knows that commerce is communication. Markets condense oceans of information into a single price. Innovations in communication are circumventing the scrutiny of the crown. This signals a change in the coin of the realm. The crown uses digital currency to surveil, censor, seize, and destroy wealth at will, so pirate currency must protect us from this weaponized money. We need to move funds further, faster, cheaper, and without third-party observation, basing decisions on an accelerating flow of information. So pirates require nearly instantaneous transactions with no arbitrary limits on volume or artificial influences on fees. Most importantly, a pirate currency must preclude centralization. Otherwise, it will become another link in our chain to the crown. A superior currency will result in the obsolescence of the coin of the realm and the extinction of the crown itself. Trade above the grid. Join us at pirateswithoutborders.com.
The Bitcoin.com wallet is a simple and powerful full-featured wallet that allows you to send and receive Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH, with anyone, anywhere in the world. It supports both single and multi-signature wallets and is available in multiple languages. The Bitcoin.com wallet is available on Windows, Linux, Mac, Android, and iOS devices. Use the Bitcoin.com wallet to buy, send, store, and receive both Bitcoin, BTC, and Bitcoin Cash, BCH. Learn more at wallet.bitcoin.com. That's wallet.bitcoin.com.
Your property and your family are precious. Protect them with Blink, like we have. Blink motion-activated HD cameras are wire-free, set up fast, and their batteries last up to 2 years. And Blink's live feed option lets you monitor what's happening at home anytime, anywhere from your smartphone. No contracts, no subscriptions, and Blink works with Alexa. You can get 3 Blink cameras for way less than the other guys, plus an extra 15% off. Visit blinkprotect.com/FTL. blinkprotect.com/FTL.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it. Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you're helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at Bitcoin.com. That's Bitcoin.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Sunday edition. Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. Laurel, you haven't been on the show a whole long time, but have you heard about MyPillow?
No, I have not.
So this MyPillow is the name brand, not just MyPillow. MyPillow is a MyPillow, as is Darryl's and Ian's. Also, my in-laws' pillows, my mother's pillows, everybody I can find's pillows are my pillows because
Jazzy the studio dog has a MyPillow bed.
Right, and mind you, MyPillow did not pay for these pillows that we're talking about. I did, because. And MyPillow is not paying for this ad either. They will, if you use the coupon code we're going to give you here, they will indeed give us a cut of it. And thank you so much for using that coupon code. In exchange, you will get a discount. However, I believe so thoroughly in this product because I've used it for a long time.
I can't wait to find out what it is.
It's a pillow, right? Like, you know what that is.
Yes.
Now, the next thing about a pillow is you probably know that a pillow should keep your head and neck in alignment with your back, right? Like your neck should be sort of straight out from your back, not cranked down towards the bed or cranked up towards the ceiling. You don't want those things because you're going to wake up not feeling rested, uncomfortable, and basically it's not a good night's sleep. If you get headaches, it may not be your mattress. It may not be. It may be your pillow. This is a good, cheap way to start. Secondly, a pillow is basically a cesspool of germs. Washing these things is impossible. I used to have before this, two pillows before this. I had previously a vinyl latex pillow, and that was great because it held my head and neck in the right position. However, you couldn't wash it. And same with my down pillow. How are you going to wash feathers? This thing, I just throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer, pop it back on the bed within, a couple hours, how long ever it takes to wash. I've got a very nice pillow on which to put my head again. I love MyPillow, and I think you will too. If you go to MyPillow.com, you get 2 MyPillow premium pillows for one low price, and you get free shipping on all orders when you use promo code FTL. So that's free shipping. And you remember, if you don't like MyPillow, you have 60 days to return for a full refund of your purchase price. That's MyPillow.com, promo code FTL. It's a great deal. I'm happy for it, and could not be happier with MyPillow. Let's go to the phones. Robert calling in from Vermont. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, guys. How you doing?
All's well. What's on your mind?
All right. I want to talk a little bit about, the veterans a little bit, and then, slash these shootings that we've been going through here in the last, few years here anyways. With some of these shootings, some of the people that have actually done the shootings have been veterans. And I try to understand, why this happens. I'll use my dad as an example. I'll be 55 in a couple of months, so to give you some idea as to how old I am. But my dad was in the Second World War, and he was in the Korean conflict. He was at D-Day, as a matter of fact. And he had bullet holes in him, and he had knife wounds, and when he was done with the war, he was told that whatever it was you did, whatever it was that you saw, just keep it to you and don't say nothing to no one. That was what the extent of their breakdown was back then. There was no, you go to counseling, you have to go home, or see a psychologist or a therapist, for some length of time after you got out of the service. And that's exactly what my dad did. He He stuffed it. He never told anybody what he saw, what he did, or any of that kind of stuff. And it must have been extremely difficult for my dad to hang on to this. But I'm just curious. I'm wondering what it is now that that's since changed, and where our soldiers now, they go and they have their, when their breakdown and counseling and however long a period of time it goes on for. But now it just seems that these veterans, not all, but some of them, they're committing these horrendous acts. And I'm trying to understand why, if they're going through all of this therapy and everything.
My guess would be, Robert, is that we just didn't delve into those kinds of things previously. Crime is lower now than it was 2 decades ago, 3 decades ago, 4 decades ago. And I would presume that veterans probably make up about the same percentage of crime now as they did then. It's just an assumption. So maybe when somebody committed a crime, they just didn't mention. In the same way they told the veterans not to mention what happened in the war, they probably just didn't mention that these people were veterans.
Well, and also the way wars have been fought over the last 70 years has drastically changed.
Okay.
There used to be something called trench warfare.
Yeah.
To where one army
World War I, yeah.
was dug in on one side, one army was dug in on the other side.
Trench warfare was kind of an anomaly. I mean, all right.
But all right, let's go back to the
standing
American
in lines
Civil
and
War.
shooting
We're
at each other.
Standing in lines
Right.
and shooting. There were clearly two sides. Now you have people running through populated areas having to guess who's the bad guy and who's just somebody that's going to the well to get some water.
Right. And veterans, in many cases, cite grief and remorse as reasons for PTSD. In some cases, that grief and remorse is somebody who was harmed in an urban warfare situation that was clearly a non-combatant.
And as I understand it, of the veterans that do wind up killing themselves, and you had previously mentioned it's 22 a day.
22 a day.
The plurality of those, or one of the sizable percentages, are people that weren't actually physically on a battlefield, but operators of drones and helicopters.
Yeah, I wouldn't doubt it. They see stuff too.
Like they're doing these things and they're being told it's like playing a video game.
Yeah.
Only it's actual real human beings that you're shooting. Oh yeah, those reporters from Reuters, the journalist. Well, they were in the vicinity of a really bad guy, so it's okay to just go ahead and shoot him right in the middle of the chest.
That's the stuff from Chelsea Manning's. Can't remember what the name of the release
Collateral
was.
Murder.
Collateral murder release. Yeah, Robert.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It just seems to me that it's happening a lot more frequently than what it has been in the last few. I mean, the first one I ever heard of in terms of a veteran shooting, in terms of shooting
University of Texas,
killing innocent people, was the Texas Tower shooter back in 1966. Is what really made big news. But
Kennedy assassination. Oswald was former military.
Yeah, but I mean, they're more mass killing. So.
Yeah, I couldn't. You'd have to look through the history of mass killings. As my understanding is that although we've had a rash of them very recently, that historically they were just not as reported on. Thanks for the call, Robert. Appreciate it. 855-450-3733. It's 855-450-FREE. I think that 22 deaths today is probably something worth keeping in mind on this Veterans Day. Free Talk Live.
Armistice Day.
The United States of Empire is a book that claims the United States is the empire of the world. George Washington had warned us against foreign wars. The United States of Empire shows that World Wars I and II left England broken. Its former colony, the U.S., had to save the empire. Was there ever a vote? Who do we fight for? The deep state began with World War I. The United States of Empire by James Dunn. Available at Amazon Books.
Hunters, anglers, campers, and survivalists. Get back to nature. Expand your horizons with the highest quality, most versatile, unique slingshots and sling bows on the market at slingbow.com. Sling bow products are compact and models start from just $17.98. They're perfect for your bug out bag or storing in your vehicle. Give yourself and your loved ones the excitement and tradition of sling bow. A new frontier in archery and truly modern twist on this primitive survival tool. Feel the thrill only at slingbow.com.
If you're looking for work, or even if you're not, here's an innocent mistake you really want to avoid. Never return calls before listening to your voicemail. Your wireless phone sends calls you didn't answer into voicemail, and it shows you phone numbers for calls you missed. Important, don't call back callers you missed until you have first listened to your messages. Otherwise, you frustrate people who bothered to leave messages by asking them to repeat a message they just left as your voicemail greeting instructed them to. If you're a job applicant, this alone could be a deal killer. And even if you're not, there are few things you can convey to someone that are as fundamentally maddening as, "I didn't hear you." With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. For more tips for job seekers and everyone else, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
I love My Magic Mud. I drink a lot of coffee. I had stains on my teeth. Then I found My Magic Mud, and I was told it would remove stains. So I paid attention when I brushed the first time. My Magic Mud is black tooth powder, and the difference it made in my teeth in one application was noticeable. With 4, my teeth were as white as you normal folks out there. Please go to mymagicmud.com and buy a jar. There's 150 applications for $25. You can use Bitcoin, mymagicmud.com.
Did you know we've taken our LRN.FM telephone listen line to a new level with the LRN.FM audio on demand line? Now you can call 712-770-8447 anytime and listen to LRN.FM's live feed. And you can listen to a bunch of our original shows on demand. Long distance fees may apply. Just dial 712-770-8447 and choose from the menu. 712-770-8447.
Free Talk Live.
I spent 8.5 years of my life in prison, and I blame it squarely on the shoulders of Christianity and the stories that I was told. If my parents, if the people at the Christian school, if the people at church would have just explained morality to me as opposed to explaining heaven and hell as a reason for doing what was right and what was wrong, I think I would have understood. It's relatively easy. If you do the moral thing in life, your life is going to be better. You're going to sleep better at night. You're going to probably be much more prosperous.
Right.
They say crime doesn't pay. They say it for a reason.
Happen right here in this world. We don't have to wait for an afterlife to experience the consequences of our actions, whether good or bad,
If I would have just been given the gift of morality instead of the gift of some silly, crazy story, I would never have gone to prison.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern. Live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM. Help get LRN.FM into more ears. Visit promote.lrn.fm for a free bumper sticker, flyers, banners, graphics, and more. Promote.lrn.fm.
Free Talk Live. It's the live Sunday edition. You can call in, talk about whatever's on your mind. It's Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
855-450-3733. Like to thank Bill Berry for being a silver amplifier. If you want to be like Bill and support Free Talk Live and our mission of spreading the ideas of liberty as far and as wide as we possibly can, that's what we use the money for, the $5 a month that we get. We don't use it paychecks. You're not buying sandwiches for everybody. It's just for spreading the ideas of liberty, to advertise, market, and promote Free Talk Live. So be like Bill and support Free Talk Live. Go to amp.freetalklive.com. Let's go to the phones. We got Bruce calling in from South Carolina. Bruce, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yeah, I was going to say, you were talking about disabilities and all, and I was... Well, I got applied I saw it on social media where you could collect like $2,500 from the government and all this.
Per month?
You just send, per month.
Wow.
Whatever. That's what they were advertising. It just depends on what you put into too.
Okay.
That's up to they ain't gonna tell you the minimum.
Okay.
They're gonna tell you the high dollar part.
Yep.
But anyway, you just call them up and tell them you got a problem or whatever. They'll send you the paperwork, and they'll put it through and everything. And like first time they did it for me, just make it short. I was denied.
Yep.
Get to the point, I was denied. And I didn't even pursue it after that because I can work. I mean, I'm not that bad. I got some problems and stuff, but I can work. I'm working now.
Yep.
So, but anyway, they kept on, and it finally got to the point where I got a hearing in front of a judge.
So how'd they keep on? When you say they kept on, who kept on?
The attorneys.
So, like your attorney?
The ones that I saw on the internet.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah.
Okay.
They didn't quit, and I mean it's going on 3 years now.
8?
And I finally went in front of a judge.
Like 8?
And
how many years?
3.
Okay, 3 years. Okay.
1, 2, 3.
Gotcha.
And but anyway, they went in front of the judge and everything, and I was denied. And I thought that was pretty much it. And they said, well, we're going to appeal it. And I'm saying, well, all they can do is say no to begin with.
Sure.
And I'm just curious to see how far these people will go, if you know what I mean. Because they're not going to give it to me. I'm working right now. I can go in front of that judge, and the judge's going to ask me, what am I doing, just like she did the last time. And I'll say, I have a job. I work 40 hours a week.
Yep.
And she's going to say, well, if you can work 40 hours a week, you can keep on working till you can't. Basically.
Right.
Right now, they know who can do it. But if you pursue it and basically have the paperwork, which would be all the doctors and stuff to sign, I didn't even have a doctor just write me off. A doctor wouldn't say, hey, he needs disability. They thought there was a chance in it.
Yeah, the lawyers did.
2.5 years.
Interesting that they're advertising for people who might need disability benefits.
They'll hook you up with 2 or 3 different companies.
Interesting.
If you go on to that line.
So is this still going on? Did you win?
Huh? I didn't win anything.
Okay. Is the case still open?
I guess so. They sent me a note saying that after that they had reviewed whatever, and they thought there was a reason to appeal. So I figure if they're going to appeal it, waste their time, I'm going to let them, because I know they're not going to give it to me. Because basically, I do not want it at this point. I'm doing fine, and what I've paid in is not going to nearly be what I'm making right now. And they're not going to let me make it so much anyway, and it's not going to amount to what I'm making right now. So, because my brother's on disability. Now he needs it. He can't even button his pants. But that's how it is. And he gets so much, but he can also work, from what I understand, he can make like $800 or $900 a month along with his disability subsidized, because he only gets so much. And you can't live off of $750 a month.
Sure can't.
So,
thanks for the call, Bruce.
That's how that's pretty much. Anyway, thank you. Y'all have a good night.
Good night. 855-450-3733. Darryl, Chicago's taxing video games?
Yeah. I was confused as well when I saw the headline, and story comes from CBS Local Chicago.
This should be one of the worst written stories you hear all evening.
Netflix.
CBS Local is always, it's computer written, by the way.
Netflix, Pandora, Spotify, those are just some of the streaming services that Chicagoans already get taxed on as part of the city's amusement tax.
I can't even believe that you can tax somebody on Netflix. I mean, like, how do they even know? I mean,
billing address.
On what?
Your credit card statement when you sign up for a Netflix account and you pay them $9.99 a month.
So Netflix knows what your billing. I guess they would know what your billing address is on a credit card, right? You have to give that. Okay, yeah, okay, all right.
Same amusement tax.
Time to get a private mailbox in Naperville and just go out and get your mail every once a month.
Same amusement tax has applied to streaming entertainment services since 2015, but starting November 14th, PlayStation users in Chicago will be hit with the same 9% charge that applies to other entertainment providers.
9%?
PlayStation? 9%? Like what? Is this some kind of subscription?
Sounds like it.
Okay, I'm not from. I have a PlayStation 2 and a PlayStation 3, but I kind of just dropped off from the console gaming thing 10 years ago.
Some of the video game things you do pay for subscriptions so that you can do online streaming, and then you get automatic updates, and I don't know exactly what all's involved,
right?
But there are subscriptions that you can get. The new tax, the result of an agreement between Sony and the city of Chicago, has some gamers seeing red. Some gamers on Thursday were just getting word that their gaming hobby was about to get more expensive. PlayStation gamer David Kim said, "You're just playing in the comfort of your living room playing PlayStation. Why do you have to be taxed on it? It makes no sense. Why should I have to pay extra if I didn't have to pay tax before? Why am I paying it now?"
I think this is probably how everybody who pays tax at all feels.
This is all taxes. I mean, this is a big motivation for me to leave Philadelphia and move to New Hampshire, was because I was being taxed up the wazoo in Philadelphia for stuff that didn't make my life better. It was all going down the toilet for the Philadelphia public education system, which was so bad there was no way I was ever going to send my kids there. So all these silly state and local taxes, I just finally said, forget it. I'm going to New Hampshire. So here I am. I'm much happier.
Yeah, it's really important, though. Philadelphia provides brotherly love to the people who go to the public schools there.
Brotherly love by taxing the sodas at some ridiculous amount, so that if you run a restaurant and you get the syrup bags that make 5 gallons of soda, the tax on the bag is based on the final product, not the actual net weight when you receive it. So it basically doubles the cost of the syrup.
I didn't care about that one because I don't drink soda. But.
Right, but that just went in place, and the mayor was trying to prevent the distributors from passing the tax on to the businesses.
If I didn't know better, I'd say you people are like political dissidents trying to avoid taxes.
Yeah, I avoid as many taxes as possible. Gamer Danny Yoshiba agreed. He says, "I think it's kind of ridiculous that you have to pay more to play the same games." Jeffrey Schwab, a senior attorney with the Liberty Justice Center, said the city could be overstepping its boundaries with the PlayStation tax. He says, "We think the city doesn't have the constitutional right to do that. The tax is not based on whether or not anyone used it in Chicago, but whether they had a billing address in Chicago."
That's interesting. So if you have
it's based solely on the billing address.
Right. So if you have an address in Chicago, you spend you could be a military member who signed up in Chicago, have your parents are there or whatever. That's where your credit card's through, and then you're on maneuvers for the next 3 years or whatever all across the globe. You have to continue to pay this 9%. Yeah, that's
9% entertainment tax.
I must say that I feel well served by our taxing overlords here. Yeah, it's great. 855. Check us out at freetalklive.com. We got an interview coming up here from Extra von NotHaus about the Liberty Dollar. I think you'll really enjoy it. It's been Mark with you.
I'm Laurel.
And Darryl.
freetalklive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
Hi, I'm Dr. Bill Deagle, MD, AAEM, ACAM, A4M, of NutriMedical.com, and a consultant providing email advice free on advanced protocols for your optimized wellness and advanced technologies to heal and regenerate you. You can contact us at NutriMedical.com That's NUTRImedical.com or 888-212-8871. You get free email starter protocols of our top medical-grade nutraceuticals, initial testing, and recommendations for your own primary doctor to do, as well as recommendations to give you an idea of a consultation and a full protocol to try to help you regenerate your tissues, heal naturally without the use of toxic polypharmacy. I can send test kits to you as well anywhere in the world and provide you recommendations to referral of specialty clinics worldwide. So contact me, Dr. Bill Deagle, at NutriMedical.com. That's NUTRImedical.com or 888-212-8871.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com. You can get emailed announcements and participate in contests via our email updates list. Plus, we have a Twitter account that you can follow and a Facebook page where you can become a fan. So visit news.freetalklive.com to get news about Free Talk Live as soon as it's announced and the way you want it delivered at news.freetalklive.com. That's news.freetalklive.com. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
Some of our live shows are streamed in HD on Twitch. Please follow and share at twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
All right, it's another edition of the Edgington Post Show. I am Mark Edge. This is the final segment of Free Talk Live. And today I've got with me, well, a name that you'll probably remember if you have been listening to Free Talk Live for some time, at least the last name. I have Extra von NotHaus, which is the son of Bernard von NotHaus. I don't think we can go any further without talking about your first name.
That seems like a good place to start. Do you want the whole story or, you know?
I'll take the abbreviated version.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, I have an older brother, and his name is Random.
Random von NotHaus, okay.
And so my parents obviously set the stage there for basically needing to give me, forcing themselves to give me a strange name as well.
Yeah, they pretty much had to.
And so I was the second boy, so I was Extra.
So first they've got Random, then they've got Extra. It makes perfect sense to me. Yep,
exactly. And luckily it's just the two of us, so there aren't any other victims out there.
How long are the conversations generally when you talk, say, give some bureaucrat or functionary your name?
It varies. It varies. I mean, you know, obviously I get a lot of comments about it. You know, going to the bank is always an interesting experience. But yeah, I mean, I kind of give a similar explanation that I just gave, right? That it's, you know, kind of part of, not a family name necessarily, but driven by my parents, should I say.
It's a family quirk.
Yeah, exactly.
Your sister's
name.
name.
My dad's name is Bernard, which, you know, in Germany is a very common name. But obviously here in the U.S., it's quite peculiar as well. So it fits in a little bit with that.
Your dad put together the project, for those that remember, or for those that don't, for that matter, put together the project called Liberty Dollar. Liberty Dollar was a currency, a silver-backed currency. They had both rounds, is what they referred to them, Liberty Dollar rounds, and then a silver-backed paper currency. Now, I've got some of the silverback paper currency hidden away somewhere. I don't know exactly where, if I could find it, and some rounds myself. Actually received from Bernard, your father, a couple of maker-marked coins that I've held on to just because, well, they made me feel special. And something happened at some point or another. He was charged with counterfeiting, even though these coins, if you take any kind of look at them, they've got a toll-free number on them. They've got a website. The government doesn't have anything like that. But nonetheless, there was the long show trial and an even longer, much longer period where they just sort of waited to sentence him. And then I think it was close to a couple of years. Maybe you can correct me on that. But at some point or another, they finally did sentence him. But the sentence was so light, it was as if they just needed a guilty hearing, and then that was it.
Yes. So he was convicted on the counterfeiting statute. 486 is the section number. And it was actually the first time that 486 had ever been used to prosecute anybody. And basically what 486 says is that regardless of whether the rounds or the paper currency actually is made to look like U.S. currency, if you are offering it as a competitor or an alternative to the U.S. dollar, then that in itself is counterfeiting. And so it's not the traditional, I printed some $20 bills myself kind of counterfeiting. Anyone who's seen the paper currency can certainly attest to the fact that they were blue and purple, never used green to purposefully stay away from that. But just the fact that he was offering it as what's defined in 486 as current money, in and of itself is counterfeiting under that statute. So
I didn't hear that part.
While
but okay.
he thought that he was purposely avoiding the counterfeiting statutes, he actually was violating one of them, according to the court.
Well, there's enough laws that at some point or another you're going to violate them. At some point or another, there was something called a new Liberty Dollar, which was basically the same thing as what your father had offered with, only the slightest of variations if there were that at all. And now there's Liberty Dollar 2, or 2.0?
LD2 is how we refer to it.
LD2. Tell me about it.
Yes. LD2 is, a kind of a reimagining, if you will, of Liberty Dollar. So it keeps within, maintained a lot of the core operational value that the Liberty Dollar had. And by that, I'm referring to, every digital token in LD2 is backed up by 1 ounce of silver.
Now,
Physical redemption is available.
This is what we were asking for.
The silver that the digital token represents. So you can ask for that silver to be shipped to you by redeeming the token, the digital token, anytime you'd like. We do regular audits, monthly audits, by an independent CPA firm that we hired in order to ensure that every ounce is in the vault as it should be for every digital token that's been issued. And those sort of aspects of the Liberty Dollar that really worked very well. And then we've married those with the new technology of blockchain and cryptocurrencies. So instead of having the physical paper certificates be the warehouse receipt for the silver on deposit, the digital token is now a blockchain-based digital warehouse receipt for the silver that the bearer has ownership of.
So this is what I was asking for when I found out about Bitcoin first. I mean, I was like, wow, what's it backed with? Nothing? Whoa, how about some silver? How hard would that be? So, this is exactly what I was hoping for when Bitcoin came along. But now that I guess when I heard about Bitcoin, it was 2011. Now that we're, 7 years out, we find out that cryptocurrency, that, the mathematics or whatever, it it in and of itself provides value because people are willing to pay for it. Why offer something that's backed with silver?
To your point, Mark, Bitcoin is essentially fiat, right? I mean, it's a digital fiat, but it doesn't necessarily change the economics of it just because it's digital, right? I mean, the fiat nature of it is still there because it's backed by nothing. While you don't see the same inflationary pressures and loss of purchasing power that you see with fiat currencies like the US dollar, ultimately there isn't anything to stop the price from going to zero, right? There's no underlying asset that has its own value or its own market price that would create a price floor, for lack of a better description. And we've seen this with other cryptocurrencies, that some of them do end up going to zero, because once trust is lost in the network or in the currency itself, then there is nothing to buoy the price. And so that leads in part to a lot of the price volatility you see with Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies, right? They're all highly correlated price. So as one crypto goes up, all the cryptos go up. Bitcoin goes up, everything goes up. And so ultimately that is somewhat of an inherent weakness from our perspective. And so being able to take, as I said, the best parts of Liberty Dollar and mirror it with the technology gave us the ability to have the benefits and the price appreciation and the utility of the cryptos while still providing an underlying asset. And that's part of the reason of why physical redemption is so important and the auditing is so important, because ultimately, instead of taking $5 for a digital token, an LT2 digital token, for example, you would be much better off taking redemption of the physical silver and selling that for either the commemorative value or, at the worst case scenario, the melt value, and that would be worth more than whatever price the market value might have on the token itself. And so, like I said, that creates a price floor of where the value of the digital tokens on the open market would never be less than that melt value of the underlying silver.
So that's kind of what that's what they basically call a stable coin these days. So I can think of, for instance, Tether is one of the coins they call a stable coin. It's backed by a US dollar, but obviously it would, even if it's true, and there's been lots of claims that Tether isn't backed by the US dollar, but and that's just not so at all. But if it is true, the US dollar is obviously not inflation proof in and of itself.
No, I mean, from our perspective, and this is, a shared perspective by many people, is that, adding on an additional layer of cryptocurrencies on top of a fiat really doesn't address the underlying problems and the underlying weakness that inflation brings.
To hear the rest of this great interview, go to archives.freetalklive.com and get the MP3. Look for today's date there and download or just listen on the web. archives.freetalklive.com.
Hi, I'm Derek J. I don't want a politician to represent me. To me, government is the idea that one group of people can coerce everyone to comply with an edict, or face increasing punishments up to and including death. Despite perhaps the most noble of intentions, the best government services are a far cry from what could be provided for by voluntary interactions. Besides, the people who call themselves the government wage wars and put peaceful people in jail for crimes involving no victims. If Starbucks